We're on. We're in. Midweek, mid-strong melee. That's exactly what it is. And it's Wednesday, the 8th of April. It looks like it's just after 10 p.m. And I think Kev's on the other end.
Good evening. Here we are. Come to join you all in the frivolities of lockdown. How are we all? Hope you're well.
Week 2 in lockdown. Takes us back up.
This week I've been mostly staring at the floor.
Let me get to. Yeah, I saw it earlier that they were saying there's been a spate of bad backs and that complaints, and I thought bad backs, you want to have a bad tooth, see how you feel, but there you go.
Yeah.
Too much sitting. I was in the garden today, like I say, with solar panels and out with the girls playing football a little bit in the back garden, and one of the neighbours started layering up, and that wasn't funny. Just to share with you all, one with the neighbours was doing some cutting of something like metal, and then one of the other neighbours started chatting to him, and it was a woman that had a few bevies, and next thing I know, shouting and effing and blinding. Then one of the other neighbours says, "Oi, children!" And then her husband, that was the lady that started first, the fracas, her husband came out to have a go at the lad. This drunken woman, his wife, was having a go at for something, using obscenities, and neighbours all out. We're all here now at home, so I resisted for the first, well, not the first, but one of the rarer times of my existence where I can bite my lip, and I was dying to say, "Hey up and get involved," and I just kept quiet. I thought, if it needs involvement, get involved. If not, let's see what happens. And she came over, the other lady, and said I had a 2 pence worth, and they actually sorted it out after about 5 minutes. She went, "Actually, I agree, you're right," and she all went in and disappeared. So I thought, oh, that was all right then. See, so not the worst, but it's obvious that we're all under a little bit of a afraid temperament. Is that maybe it's worse?
Well,
I
it's
don't
all
know.
new, isn't it? It's all new. All of a sudden, everybody's doing the opposite of what normally happens in their lives, and that's being at home in the daytime in the week.
Yeah. It's
People have routines. They all get upset, don't they? Because everything's changed. You're like your missus. You might have kids. There's that routine that's going on while you're at work. And
creatures of habit, aren't we?
yeah,
We don't like
spanners.
change. We don't like change.
No, don't like it.
I like it.
Fly, Jerry, how you doing?
Oh yeah, the room. We're on tune. We're not just we've been chatting, you see, for half an hour. I just got back into the groove again. I forgot we're here. Look, who else we got?
Wendy.
Hello there. Yeah, new scribe, Wendy. Hello there, sister. Welcome. Thanks for choosing Indy and Kev, David and Kev, coming to Indiglow for an evening of a midweek melee. If we can, we're not going to come and spread fear and speculate. We've had a chat beforehand, and we're here just to maybe take your mind off stuff, give you a joke, a laugh, a smile, talk. We will keep the topic, and the rhetoric that is going around at the moment. There's a lot of different rhetorics. Continents look like they are self-isolating now. It looks very, very weird, like nobody can move anywhere now. I did download and watch David and London Real. And what's he called, this man? Paul or something, is it? Robert?
Paul somebody.
Paul.
Something, yeah.
Yeah.
I did hear it earlier.
We'll discuss, if anybody's watched David Icke and London Real with Paul, then we'll have a look at that. Myself and Kev are privy to it, and we'll give some reflections on the various topics covered within that 2 hours. And I'll stand here and say well done to David for putting in the effort, and well done to London Real, but I'm still dubious about London Real, Paul, agendas, followers, monies, how it is. And then
Say, Mr.
Go on, Kev.
Mr. Ike doesn't. It's all a bit doom and gloom. There's never any upside or positives with it, really, is there? That's and I'm not saying he's wrong. It's just it is a bit doom and gloom, which I think there's enough of that going on at the moment as there is. But whether that be the case or not, I think there's no remedy, is there? It is, well, is the answer.
5D, I like, yeah, we'll touch on that. We'll see who's seen it and who hasn't. We'll let the scribes drop in and everybody get ensconced, comfy, and with a brew, whatever. Get yourselves there's no video. We just keep it like this, so we have a muted screen and just listen to the audio. We find it helps the concentration, and I can read the comments better, to be fair, on the screen. So
Yeah, I have to turn the TV off in the house and everything, or I end up getting distracted by that. Everything has to be right. Concentrate on what you're doing.
the soup vibe doesn't bode well. Agreed, Dom.
All right, Dom. How are you? Andy. Hello, mate.
Got G-Man there as well. Oh, Andy as well. I didn't see Andy. But before what was I going to say about these times then? Yeah, we're in uncharted waters. If we was to speak how we used to speak, and we're in new. Wendy's put it there. What was that comment Wendy put? Are you? Where did she put those? This too shall pass to a more humble and beautiful free world. So transitional stages, yes, that we're in. We're expecting an update from Boris that won't be done next week because he's been detained allegedly, and I've got some news outlets. I've just turned on the laptop to get onto the tube and into the room, and a little update came through. It looks like the Daily Fail online, so it's mainstream, and it's just saying to me, Downing Street delays decision on ending lockdown. Stay-at-home rules could go on for weeks amid claims. Coronavirus peak is still a week and a half away, but some ministers hint schools could reopen after Easter. Oh, hinting, are they? Well, and then there's some bullet points under the headlines is Boris Johnson has spent a second night in intensive care. A review of the government's coronavirus lockdown measures has been pushed back from Easter Monday. That's what it says.
Can I ask something quickly?
Yeah, go on, yeah.
The previous headline about Boris in intensive, is that today?
Boris Johnson has spent a second night in intensive care as he battles to overcome. Let's have a look by James, political editor, 8th of April 2020, updated 15:36 on the 8th of April. So yes, the Daily Mail's given me. I'm not scouring and scraping. They've come and contacted me. I don't know, but that's
15:36 and what?
Did you not see a date? So what was that date that was wrong? Because I'll forget. So let's get that in. Where did we see a wrong date?
Right, 5th of March was posted on the video of the Queen when she spoke on the 5th of April.
When she came on for less than 5 minutes.
Yeah, 4 minutes 23
to
seconds.
console the nation. The men, but yeah, sorry.
The blessed Lizard.
Yeah,
anyway,
we chat for 3 hours full of love of it. The Queen comes, it's like she was on £1 million a minute, a second or something. Can only have 4 minutes, maximum 5. We've got 4:21. That'll do. We're in. The wrong date. So we're just looking at that, and we see wrong dates and deletion of videos and banning of posting, and yeah, it's very, very contrived at the minute, fam, is what we would like to say. But there's 2 more bits here. That was about the PM responding to treatment, temperature dipped in a positive sign. Questions have been raised over whether he should have received closer attention in quarantine. In number 11, well, he shouldn't have been shaking hands and acting like 10 men, when we've got a sit, where Trump played it down and said, the Chinese virus, blah, 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 and we're America, we've only got low infections. And on the chat, I said at the time, that's quite, there was a downplay by somebody else, was it Mexico as well, and Boris, and now Trump and Boris was leaving the delay, and they said 80% of us are going to get infected at the beginning in week 1. They downplayed it. They said they're going to contain it and all of that, and we were questioning how can you contain something when you don't know who has it, where it is. That's quite obscene and obscure to say, because it's not being contained when everybody's free to move, and the schools were open until the Friday when they closed, mid-March was it ish, just before the 20th, that Friday there. and we took Yanker out a bit earlier. I know others that did, but as for opening again, we'll let the room or you comment on that, and if you feel secure in that. But just
What
to
was
close,
that?
just let me close down with, there was a comment on a news feed today. At 7 p.m. I watch Channel 4 News, and I'm not advertising Channel 4. I don't watch it through the day, any news at all, and I focus on what I need to do. And they mentioned on this news report that because of the they mentioned on the news report, because of the government's chief scientific and the handling and the management and the forecasts, and in light of what David Icke said about the people that plan these forecasts, and apparently the world should have melted by now, but it hasn't, because the people that plan these computer models do it wrong and rubbish every time. They're notorious for getting it wrong, and they've planned this one for the corona, it's very interesting how he picks up on that, and he encapsulates it. So we've got claims that because of the handling and the amount of deaths, alleged deaths. Sorry, we're at ease, soldiers, but I'll try my best. I've got toothache. I'm not sleeping much, so that's the reasons why. Our tooth's nearly half out. So the management and the forecasting and the planning and everything like this reminded me of the claims that they said, liability for the management of the nation and the wealth and the health, and they're liable for the wealth and they're liable for the health. We know that with the health departments and the body bag issue that they've double backed on and said on one side, it's okay, death and management of mortalities and how to handle them, and then they said they didn't require body bags, but you've got to be careful of liquids and stuff, and it's just all a bit messy. And so to wrap up now on that, wow, that was serious for Channel 4 to poise out there and say, well, it wasn't Channel 4 themselves, it was the interviewer, and on Channel 4, I forget if it was the actual man there or for Channel 4, or if it was something else on that others were speaking on. You'll have to bear with, but the point was, they said that there's going to be questions asked, and they're not happy, allegedly, with the trust. And that, now to close down, finally, I posted some tunes that I made from 5 years or so ago with Vox Pops on from YouTube, and videos of the 1991 Iraq Gulf War invasions, and then following up to Tony Blair, subsequent later, the re-invasion, was it, of Gulf War, and what happened. And there was samples in that track. I think it's the Congress, and they're telling you, they've got them there. We definitely know in 45 minutes, Saddam Hussein has the capability to launch weapons of mass destruction. We've got pictures of aluminium tubes. We know definitely this is not an assumption, he says. This is a fact. We know we're launching, we're going in. With the Kuwaiti oil fiasco and everything, it's amazing what's gone off. And it turns out later in the discovery, as we found with Tony Blair and the Bush and the relationships and everything, they didn't have weapons of mass destruction. They didn't have definite proof. There was the Chilcot report, Anthony Kelly, and it's all just, we forget about this, BSE, Mad Cow, the Grenfell. I don't forget. I'm here to remind you and not to scare you, but this is why, for the locally embedded agents, we are here and we do this. We're here to fact check the fact checkers, aren't we, brother? I yield.
Thank you. Yeah. We are. Well, we try our best to be fact checkers, trying to put anything out there that won't understand, if you like. I was just going to say, what's the name of, the place that did the modelling of the supposed outbreak? So London, some place in London. What's the name of that knob jockey that screwed all that up?
Yeah, it's on the video. That's why it's been deleted, you see, because there's a lot of key claims there that we can find out. So I did make notes, and if you can't find it, we have put some posts for Vimeo and somewhere else. I shared 2 links on the FB and the SPL's domain. I can put them on the community page here, but I couldn't tell you, Kev. There were too much in it. At 7 o'clock in the morning, I was up. I hadn't been to bed, and I was still up as a burning the midnight oil. I thought, I'll watch this, and this might, not to be insulting, but send me to sleep a little bit. How you nod off in YouTube videos when you're tired and that mid-morning. So I ended up watching it all. It was like a presentation, glorified in a way. The aspect of where they were, what they was doing,
Yeah.
it was played up. Did you not feel that? Yeah.
Of course it was, because obviously it was pro everything. You could say, yeah, of course it was. It was played that way to a degree. I still say it was good info.
Yes, it's food for thought. It's discovery. It's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
non-media
it was
outlet.
plenty. Yeah, and it was some good connections made, whether rightly or wrongly. I can neither confirm nor deny. Time will reveal to us all what that's all about. But I mean, there was nothing. Nobody fell over, did they? I mean, it's not like we were all in shock over it. It was very informative, if that's your thing. But of course, it was pro. Of course, it was going to be all
Hype. There was a bit of hype there,
yeah,
and
a bit of hype. Of course, there was. It was always going to be that way. I mean, right. So you now get an opposing station to do an interview with him, and you'll see it a completely opposing. They'll make him look like a loom bag. That's the way it goes, isn't it?
you were all suited and booted. Lado in blue, red, white. I noticed the colour correlation, and then I look at Ike with a shirt on and you look smart, casual smart, but you had the suited and booted, whistle and fluted, and then right, casual Ike, and he gets passionate and on it. So yeah, that's good. We've got a few scribes in the house. Let's see who else has joined Kevin, and I want to read some more about the lockdown from the results of Downing Street, release of Downing Street.
I've just seen. Are you in the room, Dave? Are you having a look?
Yeah, hello, Anders.
I was just going to say, snafu,
See you.
evening.
Yeah.
Nice to see you.
Stuart of the Davidson clan, D-man, friend of mine. It's interesting. I can't picture you, I'm sorry, but you're not here often because you're
Jim
grey.
Bob.
But, yeah.
Jim Bob. I hope you're right, mate. I'm not holding my breath, though. Snafu 5G isn't on here yet. I'm stone's throw from Heathrow Airport, as far as I'm aware.
There's loads of good comments in here to catch up with. We're going to please
Yeah,
hang
there
around.
is.
Please hang around if you got the time. Who else we got then to say hello to?
Yeah, Wendy's right. You are right. Yeah, there's outweighed with traitors. Wendy,
Oh, this.
fortunately. Oh dear, right. Anybody I've met? Stuart, hello, mate.
Yeah, we said hello, Dom. Don't do your own research. You'll get Google.
Anders, there he is. All right, Anders. How you doing, fella? Hope you're still containing it all. You're not on a lockdown in Sweden yet, fella. Yet. They lost the plot over there, mate. They've gone down the mental road, finally. Is it still in the air?
Wendy, we appreciate that that's a commonly used word, and we're actually broadcasting on the Google corporation now. But DuckDuckGo and other search engines are useful as well, because we find that the sensor shipping. It's been unlocked, Dave. Okay, it's been unlocked. I believe you. But I do find that you find more if you search around, and sometimes you get lucky. But I'd like to say there is a bit more I've got on this page to read. We're just taking it slowly and casually. I know it's a bit fragmented, but that's how we roll. Easy, ebb and flowing. Boris, yeah, we've covered that, and he's in St Thomas's allegedly there. Now it says.
Well, I don't wish anybody ill at all. If he is ill, I hope he gets better.
That's right, yeah. He's a brother at the end of the day. We're all fan, no matter our disposition or positions.
Don't wish ill on any man, regardless.
So yeah, I just want to read a bit more here, and then we'll go in the room and because it's interesting.
Can I just
go on then?
Yeah, sorry, I just want to say something quickly. Jerry, was that you today on the friend thing I confirmed with. I'm assuming it was. Because in which case I'll give you a call and tell you about the joke that I was going to say the other night. I let David know about it earlier, and he told him today.
Quality.
So I must. I hope that was you today, Jerry. That the friend request was from. I'm presuming it was, mate. I assume it was. It must be.
We've told you about presumptions, and he still does it.
He'll go, no.
He knows about
What's
asses.
you for, you dickhead?
Yes, that are you and me. An ass playing a flute to the Century Fox Twisted tune, no doubt. Right.
Well, it's illegal to confront the COVID theory here in Sweden. Jesus Christ, man.
Much like the 5G then, so that's a 5G theory and COVID we've got then, a realm-wide media blackout on 5G talks, as we've noticed in ICAS, and we're not allowed to mainstream narratives and videos and etc. And COVID, amazing. How are they enforcing that? Is there a microphone in everybody's house in Alexa? And
Who knows?
what's going on here?
Don't force him to say it. He'll have the door kicked in.
Freedom of speech, I'd argue straight away, human right, freedom of speech, expression.
They got guns over there, Dave.
You got a will. It doesn't matter. We got tanks and planes, and we had stealth bombers and all the planes above us showing their stuff, and we're still here trying to remedy and get out of the majors and into the, so.
You won't say that. With
Sweden's Greek and Italy. Greek and Italy got loads of guns. It's a commonplace, isn't it? Fear and oppression, force of, but yeah, no, that's
fine,
serious.
Mate. How can you pay them if you're not allowed to work or anything? See, ridiculous. I will not take that paperwork. Show me a certificate that you're not infected. That's an offensive weapon you're trying to pass to me. Get me to sign.
When a boat is on a course, it's on a line. It's plotted on a line. It follows a line. You've seen the what's that triangle thing now where they tippy toe it across the map? It's the map thing that they have. It's like the Masonic square and compass, isn't it? It's that bit where,
yes.
That spectrum, no, and that's nothing there. It's not coming. When they go, a boat goes in a charted, plotted course. Its course is in a line generally, and they plot, and they I know they turn, but they go in line guidelines, shipping lanes, lanes of, and guidelines here. Law is being made, policy and rules. But we found that law, when they say law, they mean other such guidelines as. So we are governed, we are self-governed, and we will cause no harm to anybody, wish no harm to anybody. And how you respect who you are, where you are, what you are, and whom is engaging with you, and how they engage with you, and if you are willing to engage. And then if we are seeing a force out there which is enforcing the force of the policy of the rule of the code, which is commonly known as law, but it isn't, then there's not much you can do when they've got a bigger kick-ass team. So we have to be careful and pick the battles wisely. But just bear all that in mind, I'd say, when you're wondering if you're allowed to do anything. Mom, am I allowed to go out? It's coming to that stage soon. I just want to say that we're aware, aren't we, of the duties and responsibilities of the public trust, and we're aware of law, and we're aware of governance and codes and harm and etc. And we need evidence, to be fair, before you start telling it. Right, like the 5G and the scientists, and I've said it now again, there you go. And now we've got this claims, but where's your proof of claim? You're telling us all this stuff. You're telling us about these tests and the inaccuracy of them, and viruses and etc. It really is a mess, a dirty, horrible Gulf War, horrible type melee of money, and I don't know what to say, honestly. Nurses and doctors speaking out, blanketing of the media, people coming into office that are inexperienced, massive amounts of monies and credits being moved. Why don't Why don't we just bite the bullet and say from now on everybody gets a minimum basic income of this, the whole realm, right? Because we're in the shit and there's not much light at the end of the tunnel. So what we're gonna do is just pay you all, credit you all, whatever you want to term it as, but give you some kind of energy so you will live. And the banks and the mortgages and the civils and everything with the courts and the procedures, it's coming to a grinding halt. We've got a 30-day extension without application on now civil matters brought to us by Sister Innie. You remember we touched on the laws, courts, didn't we, and what was going on safety-wise, and the updates from the .gov, and then a day after that we found out via Facebook and the sisters there that this new measure's been taken. So anybody that's got a date, you check out, we've put the posts in our domains, what those guidelines are from the Ministry of Justice and the .gov UK. Don't take my word or another site, websites or a video. Go and look yourself. And interesting times, fam.
Indeed.
Nobody needs to go without. Nobody needs to struggle. There's enough credits and quantitatives and whatever's going off here. So the system will not crash because they've put the ventilators on in the form of credits and currencies and bailouts and loans and really. When we could just, Q, where are you, Q? If there is a Q movement, we need you. Somebody needs to do something because, it's getting beyond a joke. And, we can't rely on them because we don't know you even are real, Q. So we'll carry on ourselves if that's all right, because we're not prepared to sit and wait and watch the bloodshed and the rights and the loss of and the grabs go on. We have to stand up, don't we, I suppose. Ike touched on that, didn't he? I like that bit where he said that. That was nice. That was a real touch, that was. It was good where he said that. What your kid's going to say? Where were you when all this was going off? Hey! I was on Facebook posting. What? You was on Facebook posting? You didn't get out? No, we weren't allowed. Yes, so there's not much we can do, I suppose, but being aware and alert and conscious and our blood, our future. So if you're thinking, just think, well, what do you think about your fam and your bloodline that you're leaving and how we're leaving it and what they're going to be encumbered with. So Downing Street, before we go on and look at the room, I'll finish that first bit from before. Now you've done that with Jerry and I've waffled. Downing Street has confirmed the draconian restrictions will not be reconsidered on Easter Monday as scheduled, with warnings the peak of the outbreak might not come for another week and a half. So you've got another 10 days before the peak, allegedly. This same story that I quoted earlier from the Daily Fail. London Mayor Sadiq Khan said today the UK was nowhere near lifting the controls, while Welsh ministers disclosed their lockdown while staying in place longer. The World Health Organization, that was interesting again from who they are and what they've done, and excellent, has also offered a dire warning about the dangerous consequences of relaxing too early. Relaxing the measures too early. He's missed out some words there. Relaxing too early is just a bit ambiguous, but however, ministers have suggested they are keen for schools to reopen. Ministers are they? Why? Why are ministers keen? Is there a particular reason I'd be interested in why they are suggesting they're keen for schools to reopen after Easter if the situation does stabilise? With claims they have little impact on the spread and what? With claims they have little. I'd like to see the evidence of them claims that they have little impact. Schools. The children are the cleanest of all of the humans, I believe, aren't they? We all know children are the cleanest of all there. That's a fact. So schools, obviously, are going to be the most area of little impact on the spread and could help revive the crippled economy. Oh, really? Oh, really? You couldn't make it up. I'll put the link into the chat room in a bit. Boris and blah, blah, blah. Analysis. Wait, there's more. Interesting. However, there are fears that even the best outcome from his corona, that's Boris, Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab has been deputised to fill in for the PM, but the potential issues caused by Mr Johnson's absence have been underlined as the crucial review of lockdown measures was postponed recently. Downing Street merely said, Downing Street said there will be a review on or around the 3-week mark, with the policy, I'd say, requiring a technical extension by April the 16th. So you've got, yeah, it's the 8th now, 12 days. 12 days, no, that'd be 20th. A few days, all right. April the 10th, that's 2 days. And another 6 there to the 16th, that'll make 8. On another roller coaster, day of developments in the crisis engulfing the globe, and then there's more to that. I'll stop there. Any comments there, Kev?
Not really. What can you say? I mean, look, not being funny, I really feel for everybody that's on lockdown. But it's just, to me, it's just every day. It's just like normal.
For you, yeah, for some
It really is. It's really weird. So to me, it's not affecting me because this is my life anyway. Really, that's the truth of it. So, I'm not trying to downplay it. It must be a fucking nightmare.
Just hold it, everybody. On the back of what I've just read you, from the same Daily Fail, we've got fears of new coronavirus crisis in China as 7 people testing positive. Ministers, listen up, as testing positive are linked to the same restaurant. I can't say that word. Probably something like Gung Zhao, all right? Quang, Gang, Gung Zhao, Quang Zhao, is that right? Authorities detected 5 imported cases from abroad in one district. 4 of the patients has visited the same restaurant, Emma Food, multiple times. The eatery owner, along with the daughter and another child, all tested positive. China warns regional outbreaks. Ministers of UK, okay, and families with assets and sons and daughters, you make the decision. That's your property. If you believe and blindly follow, history tells us these lot are not to be trusted. We went to war on evidence of weapons of mass destruction, and there was clear evidence of that, and Congress got told that, and Parliament and Lords and everybody who said, okay, let's go. And then when we smashed the place up, killed all the women and children, and friendly killed more than we, oh wow, it was just a farce of a time, equipment and everything. And here we are. That's just one that I want to make a show of, and here we are still trusting the ones that have caused and said, and basic lies. They're lies. They've lied about many things, and we've got proof of it. So there's a Wuhan, the former epicenter today, saw travel restrictions lifted after 76 days. Look, in the same paragraph of all that above. So the world's mad. It really is making no sense to me, fam. That's all I'll say.
It's not giving you any info. Fly, let me tell you something. You've just dropped yourself in it, mate, there. That means you've been sleeping around, mate, because I got tested recently myself and I'm clear. So, that's it. It's over. Ever ring me again. Dropped yourself.
I thought I was serious then until I just realised. All right,
Did you see Fly's comment? You got it now, did you?
You guys, yeah.
Oh, we know. Jerry's in there calling me honey again. So that was nice. A bit of a semi. Look at that.
I'm in. Just entered the room. Can you tell? Echo. That's good. I'll start reading the comments in a minute, Kev, and we'll.
All right, mate. There's plenty in there.
Yeah, there's 31. We're not ending prematurely. If there's a need and a requirement, you got any information, any concerns, you require anything, we'll do our best, won't we, Kev? Yeah, we'll try.
Of course. That's why we're here. If you require something, then require it.
In the spirit of family and unity, anybody that's in that isn't blue is going blue. Wendy, what's you doing?
Wendy, she's on the other side of the pond.
We've got Lux
which is very nice.
Safe 7. Oh wow, there's lots of you in I haven't seen for a bit. So if you don't want to be blue and you object, then I will take it back. Stuart, where are you? How do we know? Yeah, where did we meet, Stuart? Is that the guy that said, the scribe that said, my man D? I'd like to know where we know each other from, brother, if you could enlighten me.
That's about right, Dom. Sorry, mate, just
Q equals poo, sorry. Graham's comment.
Who was that?
Some comment by Graham B. Q equals poo. Yeah, it's not. We've been taught, haven't we?
Mia, Lux, Mia, how you doing? We must have gone back a bit. I'm trying to. Oh, that's right. Got it. Graham B.
What we got? Got them hearts, Wendy. You're very emotional. I like that. Thank you. I'm up to. I've found Anders' comment now. Just fine. Just illegal to confront the COVID theory. I'll check that out. I'll do some research on that. We'll speak tomorrow, Anders, and we'll see how you're being restricted.
Yeah, that's no good, mate. Not like you need to leave the country, is it?
Sidelines, Boat, did I? I just remembered.
You've got a bunker somewhere, mate. Hope you're in the middle of nowhere. You're going to get left alone.
Oh, it's gone down, Kev. My it's gone down. Sorry, everyone. My tooth, my gum, it's gone down. It's receding. We've got to.
Shh, don't jinx it.
Yeah, it's all right. I'm a bit worried then. I don't want to be going to a hospital, and I've got a throbbing front tooth that the tube may not be aware of.
You won't need to go to a hospital.
No, I'll pull it out with pliers and stick some RSO. God Lord.
Stick some RSO and some super glue back in. Push it back in again. Job done. Be fine.
Yeah, you came off. Go on.
See, the infection's the only thing you got to worry about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Keep your eye on that little. Yeah, that's the only thing. But you deal with that yourself as well. Piece to piece. If you have to burst it, do that, and then colloidal silver it. Job done.
Yes,
boy.
I had an experience as a crosser in my youth, and I used to like the Suzuki slingshot, and I used to play. I started on C90s, 13 private. My dad was a builder and stuff, and had friends that would, builders, and the money that they earned, the sons and daughters are looked after, and the houses are like mansions, aren't they? So they had motorised toys, quads and bikes, and got to learn on that on private land. All is good, and had fun, and then I got into scrambling and crosses, and I then built up to go on my mate's back end. We were on he were taking me around, showing me the power bands and that of this Suzuki RS 500 or something, a 500cc Suzuki road bike though, performance, I forget, Gamma or Suzuki RG Gamma 500. I said, God, that's like 20 something years ago. And we went around this roundabout, and he was being sensible on the curves. He was a really good performance jumper, stuntman, off-road racer. What he didn't know about moving in cambers and roads and tyres and everything, it weren't worth knowing. And somehow we ended up skidding and hitting some wall. Helmet cracked, and my front teeth, the tombstone, ended up going through my top lip. Not massively horrible, because you've seen my top lip, but they went in and it come out the other side, and it flicked back round. But there was a horrendous amount of blood, and my two front teeth, they were damaged, and the dentist had a look and said, after my hospital and my scabs had cleared, he said they're broken, they need root canaling at 15, this was, and they were drilled out at 15. I'm now 40 something, and they've just started to fade now after the 15-year of age accident, and I'm 40 something. That's why they've snapped, because they've just one has, and the other one needs doing. So just happens on lockdown that it's given up the ghost. Thank you for that. And I know others are in pain and there's other issues, but Tubey wasn't privy to all of that, so there you go. The violin has been put away.
Steve. Nathan.
Oh, Venus up there. Have you seen the bright star in the sky? I got an app called Star Walk Light or something like that. Star Walk, maybe Light. So it looks at the stars and tells you planets, constellations. Sorry, so it showed you the planet Venus. I thought it's a bright old burner there. The moon last night, very bright, and I couldn't sleep again. Yeah, not much sleep with the big moon, and Venus is yeah, it's very
Throbbing
bright.
teeth.
Yeah,
Right.
just scanning. Yeah,
What's happening in the room?
let's go for.
Like Rolf Harris said, say no to strangers.
I'm going to give you some links of the 2 posts that I've read from anybody that's interested. I'm not promoting such things. I'm just letting you know where I've got the facts from and what date and time. And the video of Boris that we found in Milad, that we didn't find, it was passed to us to examine and look at in the form of, oh, look what Boris is doing. Turns out it's from about 7 years ago. But then, Kev, it's disappeared, has it not, as well?
Yeah, I mean, there was a thing going on saying it was from 7 years ago, which we'd seen earlier, which was some more sort of an update we got over it. And then I thought, okay, and then I went to find mine, and it's been taken down. So if it, to me, suspicious as I am, if it was 7 years ago, provably 7 years ago, why would you take it down?
Yeah,
But there you go.
Misalignment. I've got it on my phone in a WhatsApp or a messenger thingy. It's been in my gallery, so I have a copy of that as well, just in case we need it. I'm not trying to say, oh, look at me. I'm just saying if it turns out it's useful, then I've got, it's only tiny megabytes. Interesting, yeah, that was nice of him. What I'll say on the back of that, though, it doesn't matter when the date, well, it does matter when the date was because of shaking hands and etc. and what we saw in the video, but to go out as a prime minister, if he is then the prime minister, it's not 7 years ago, or in the way running for, we have these opinions of these MPs, and rightly so. Ian Duncan Smith rewarded for, benefits cuts, puts a claim in for his undercrackers whilst taking the money off the less abled. Putting in claims for your secondary houses and whatnot, and the tax expense fiasco, and then you get knighted for it. Wow! So that's why we talk like we do about this, because it's unfair, very unfair, isn't it?
Indeed.
As you lot see, you all see that anyway. Standing Together, I've just seen from Stuart of the Davidson clan. That name rings a bell. It's annoying me where I might know you from, fam. But Standing Together, we're going to do some. Well, we'll do it with you on here in a fashion, if you want. But we've discussed to give you on Facebook via those that use it and want to, get access to it. We'll do some watch parties, and we're going to go through dialogues of certain scenarios. Do not resuscitate scenarios. Your mum and dad, if they're elderly, last will and testament, property, assets, titles, locking stuff down. If we have some more weeks ahead of us, and like I've just brought to you there from Downing Street, we are not happy that we 12 months ago brought out the fact that every man above the age of man and woman, you know what I mean, above the age of 18, legal age for Britain, England, Anglo, UK, then you really need to think about a last will and testament, even if you've got not much. The fact that you're living with somebody and you've got maybe some young stars and your common law man and wife means that if you get taken and you are deemed non-compos mentis, or you lose your faculties of mobility, speech, everything, memory, temporarily, permanently, you've not written and expressed your will, then it gets decided for you, assumed and presumed. Well, that would be your wife or your lady, your common law wife, but then this law society would have their requirements for prerequisites and probates and etc., and they just go and I'm not saying all the time, but it's not good what danger and the nakedness that we're in, which is good compared to the naked trust. But when you're in a battle, would you go out to battle naked? Think of Sparta, the 300. What did they wear? They wore protective gear. Think of Mel Gibson's Apocalypto and them tribal mans. They were quite naked, but they were good at what they did, and they protected, how they did. They weren't naked. They were battle warriors in some of them scenes. So, we have to bear in mind that you need to put some armour on before you go into battle, fam, and we're going to armour you up with the best armour we can. Bite-size, short, concise, strict to topic, no 3-hour waffles in them with, an hour of good stuff and 2 hours. So such things as what me and Kev have been privy to, the trusts that we've been in, and we've been in a few, not just the ones that we have with you, but other private ones that we've been privy to have. What do we get there, Kev? We get authority to speak regarding the matters, don't we, generally, and
Yeah.
manage it that way. So we can help you, and we're going to do it for free, and we're going to do it quick time. I yield.
Yeah, Dave, we talked about this. We had a little chat about it today. So we're going to start rolling some of that out, short and sweet. As I say,
We'll
probably
try.
scripted as such. Maybe a bit of a laugh thrown in there while we're at it. You know how it is.
Role play.
Yeah. Ooh. Can I wear the dress?
Don't want to make Fly jealous, but some role play. Yeah, scenarios and speech. How to answer the door. How to answer the telephone. Well, when we say that, you can do what you please, when you please, and how you please. But if you'd like to know a little bit more about how we and others in our circles and trusts and clans operate when we are engaged with, they engage with us, and if we choose to engage or if we don't choose to engage, and the liabilities and the requirements and the languages used. What's your name, pal? I'm called David. There you go. What's your name? I am called David. Boom. So just things like that, simple, effective, and they can write down David for the name, but I didn't say I am David, the name. I am called David, and what's your surname? Oh, the family name. That would be, what's your date of birth? I was born on, and there's all good, just simple things. If you speaking, that's how we speak in a hospital-based scenario or whatever. If you've got paperwork, then it's a little bit more verbatim, isn't it, and stricter on a notice document. But chat-wise, telephones, door knocks, and you say, hello, who is it? Oh, it's the TV licence man. Sorry, I'm a bit busy at the moment. I can't open the door. But I need to come in. Have you got an appointment? No, we haven't. But everybody answers the door to the TV licence. Yeah, well, come back another day. I'll get in touch with you when it's convenient to me. Goodbye. Door didn't open, and no danger. So you're not at liberty to open your castle turret to anybody, especially if they're going to try and take you for a ride.
Especially not at the moment. I don't suppose there's a lot of door knocking going on, to be honest with you. But
safety, we've got to talk about safety. Scams that are going off next as well. But yeah, door knockers and cold callers, DCAs, and that has come to a stop. If ever you wanted to, what's that saying? Stop the world, I want to get off. Well, if you'd like to get off, here's your chance.
Yeah.
G-Star said that to me at 3:40 this morning.
Nice. What else going on?
So we'd like to give you, I'd like to give you, our trust. What's the point of keeping stuff secret if there's thousands of mans out there needing help? All right, you can go on the high street or your equivalent online, and you can get a last will and testament and stuff for a few pounds now. Yeah, we've hosted one on the .com for a year or so. Codicils, revocable, irrevocable, express private, many different types of instruments and techniques. So we're going to build you up. It doesn't require that you come over and join us in the private, much like with the Sovereign Masters Guild. What was it now? Let's get it right. Foundation course. We did that for free and we gave it everybody. That was just like a little hello. This is who we are. This is what we do. This is how we speak. This is what we've done. And this is where we'd like to go. So now we recognise that there's still a need, a massive deficit, and we are going to move up to the next level. But none of you are ready to move up to the next level because you haven't got off level 1 for whatever reason. And that's not me being horrible, but you've got to know certain things, haven't you, Kev, before we move on. And the instruments in the wrong hands, probably inexperience, not the wrong hands, that's Hollywood. Instruments of power in the inexperienced hands can be quite damaging and dangerous, and you can end up in hot water or ending up with a worse situation if that's possible. But yeah,
it's not to be rushed.
And there's certain things we can help you, and when we help you, what we want you to do is that comment earlier about sticking together and solidarity and unity would be you then present that to your neighbour, and your neighbour presents that to their neighbour. And just think, if we did that, it'd be like a Mexican wave of, it'd take a long time, but that's the world we're in. We help people, we get spat at sometimes. We're used to it, but we're in for the long game. And if everybody just passed on to the neighbour, imagine, and you did it left and right. Did two neighbours, Mrs. Jones, Mr. Smith, Bosh. Have you seen? You know what this is? Can I have a word with you? All right, yeah. And youth, whoever it is, and if they're not, interested, they're not interested. But you could start to love thy neighbour. One of the commandments there, the times we're in, and the principalities and where we're at, and the biblical and the Mosaic and etc. Magneto, electro, love, hate, the same. So let's change the scales. And while we've got time, we thought we'd occupy your time with something productive that isn't fear-mongering, that isn't speculation, that isn't if, but, maybe, Q, etc., SARS, Corona. Learn. And what we'd like to do is utilise this spare time and armour you up. You then, for free, get all of that. You're protected. You should show something back. 50% of you will. It's a law of numbers. We're getting, scientific now. Without knowing you and who you are, 1,000 sovereigns doing this, or 1,000 mans, 500 of you would turn out to be sovereign initiates of self and come and help and stick with. The rest would go, try to profit, give it to others, help out, and many different things. But 50% of what we get is a good kickback. So, yeah, is that about right, Kev, there? Do you agree, or have us anything else?
Do. No, not really. Not to add to that. I mean, it's fair enough, isn't it?
We're protectors. SPLS Pro is a protector. .com is .community. We are the pro creators. We're not protesters anymore. And we like to protect. And I think that the payment for protecting an unlimited amount, we're gonna get promotions. Yes, we'll get coverage. There'll be extra, but that's what we're here for. Not for fame, just to sort this out and ourselves. And we'll see where we go. It's just an idea. All right, it's an option. If anyone else is interested or would like to join in, it will commence on Facebook, and we'll probably download them videos, and I'll let everybody know on the Book of Faces, which is an open public data mining platform of doom. So that will be fine. And you can do what you want on there within reason, can't you? And go to Congress and say sorry and carry on. So there you go. We'll download them and we'll put them on the SPLS Pro Facebook Church YouTube channel, and we'll do it through playlists on there, because this channel's too cluttered now. Even if I tidied it up, I'd like to utilise the correct platform and area for what we're doing there, because it'd make it easier for you. Less videos, less clutter, and we have the two platforms, one educational, one chirping and having a laugh. Danger.
Right.
The doors. Do you know any scams that are going off at the minute, Kev, or room? I'm gonna tell you a few that I've heard of after Kev's had a chirp.
Well, I got sent a message today, direct from a friend, and it was her sister. I think I put it up on the page. She's up in Manchester. Hence the number she puts on there. But yeah, she got a call from a supposed, appliance insurance.
Oh, I remember it now. That was terrible. But go on, yeah. Please explain.
Yeah, basically he's got a call saying, oh, it's up for renewal, and we can do it now, 66 quid or something for the next 3 years, which was sort of remarkably cheap. And so she started asking a few questions, my husband normally does this, give us your number, I'll get him to call you back. And he couldn't find the number. It was his first day and all this shit.
Yeah.
Asking, saying, I'll have to take the details, your bank details again, and stuff like that. So be careful. There's some proper arseholes out there. There were some people over in this Hounslow borough walking around with protective suits on, masks and all that, knocking on doors, telling old people they've come to test them and then robbing them.
No.
Yeah, mate. It's photos of them. Photos, like 3 or 4 of them.
Oh, old people.
I mean, that's
picking on old people. They must have been hard, them lot. They must have been rock solid.
Well, that's what.
Wow.
You see, this is what they like. They pick on the vulnerable.
Yeah.
People are in a 2 and 8. But yeah, so beware. There's lots of them going. That's not the only one. So back to you, David.
Brother Serge told me in around Birmingham, Wolverhampton, and I recognise Birmingham has got a big place and it's got many areas. I can't name them all, but around that area, knock on the door. Hello there. We've come from such and such. We're in partnership with the government. We've got some masks for you and some protective gear. We're giving them away. Free stuff. Oh, wow, we'll have some of that. Masks, you say? Okay. And let's ask you to try a mask on. And they give you like a few selections, and the first one is full of chloroform. And you put it on, and obviously then by the time you take it off, you're passing out. And then, yeah, they rob you that way. Telephone calls, emails have gone up. 1,000,000% of scams, and people have got time now. So the delinquents and the undesirables, unconscionable ones that are desperate, maybe not criminals, who could just decide to try and rob somebody because they're desperate and they haven't got support. So I'm not judging. What I'm saying is there's many and various, like Kev's just said, telephone calls, emails. So we'll do this is one. Somebody make a note for us, please. Data safety, data fraud, digital data fraud, telephones,
Yeah,
emails.
anybody gets anything, forward it to us and we'll put them up.
Yeah.
Tell us what they were trying to scam you for. The other thing is, of course, here's the other thing. If you know it's a scam, well, what I like to encourage people to F with them.
Keep them on the phone and don't let them know that it's a scam, and let them spend 2 hours. If you've got time and you're like, carry on.
It take forever to go and find this and that and the other. So, you call me back in 5 minutes, someone at the door. Oh, just waste as much of their time as you can. Absolutely. Have as much fun with it as you can as well.
Yeah, there are times where you may need to report to the local constabulary if you so choose, and you can tell us about a crime. You don't have to go to the constabulary that speak a different language, and make out things aren't, and probably complicate things sometimes, and it takes a while, and they don't update you. And there you go. I've said enough. We will update you. We do take a while. That is standard most times because we're busy. Not because we don't care or we got our feet up drinking coffee and eating donuts, etc. We're just busy and we're trying our best. So we would look at that as well. As I said about David Icke with the London Reel, we've got privy knowledge and information and things that we can try to use. I'm not saying it will work, but we have the desire to let the truth out and protect the weak and vulnerable. So if we can help in any way, then we're not promising anything, but we could make a database, collate it. We are a point of meeting. So the 30 that are on now and the ones on the replay, you can find us on SPL's Pro Facebook. You can put comments on this channel, and then you can find us on the .com, which is the same as splspro.com, and then we'd manage it there privately, publicly on Facebook, privately on the .com, publicly on here, and we'll name and shame. We could have a special show then, couldn't we, of the areas, and we could update and say, and then we're not privy to all of the scams, and we're not scammers ourselves, so we're not in that circle, but others that have had it done or that are privy to, could you let us know, and then we'll share it.
Yes.
Live, Trump White House coronavirus task force. That's after me and you.
Amazingly clear down here tonight, mate, with the moon, and last night. Not a cloud in the sky. Beautiful.
Bernard. Listen to that word though. All I wanted to do on the end of that was say that you've got on Tube after our cast, it's up next on autoplay, Trump and White House coronavirus task force. You got the guidelines and you got your lines there in the back of the boat where it leaves a trail. That's called its wake. And there you've got a task force, the rule of law, the force of law. Law doesn't need to be forced. Rules need to be enforced. So enforcement officers, we and you, I'd like to think, I'm going to put you all in this area for now, in the hat of deforcement, reservation of rights, and recognition of them. Yeah,
absolutely.
There is a time when force is needed, but not always. Not with children, not with pregnant ladies, not with the elderly, not with sovereign initiate self-governing masters, whatever you call yourself. No. Go to the room, Kev.
See, Leighton has made a comment about when do we invoke the Magna Carta. Well, one, it was invoked already.
Yeah.
2001, was it, or 2003?
Yeah.
And it's not something, although, there's still argument over the validity of it, but it's not something we really, although we're aware of it, obviously.
It's ineffective. We haven't had any remedy from it. It's ineffective. There's no enforcement. There's no support. There's only allegedly 3 chapters in effect. The rest have been, oh, wow. And it was essentially a trust. The monarchy, the barons, and the people. An agreement. It was an agreement, whether it be forced or whatever, it Runnymede and, etc. there. Tyrant at hand. Deal done. Under duress. Okay, so we know about things under duress and against your will. An agreement, and when that agreement breaks, and I wrote to one of those lords when I was speaking to David Robertson some years ago, and I got nothing back, and I said, David, what are we doing here, pal? Well, I'm relying on this man to back me up. I need defence from the crown. He's not answered me. What do we do? He's like, oh, well, yeah, no. I'm like, what do we do? Never mind, yeah, well, that's not good enough. I need substance over the form. And there's no substance here, Kev. So we carried on looking. That's each to their own, but we're honest and we'll tell you. Anybody that's used Magna Carta to deflect liability claims upon persons and managed it, then let us know. And we'd like to hear your story and your claims. Otherwise, we go with the way that we are going and that you've come to learn that we go. I won't explain it all, but you know what go on, yeah?
Indeed.
I don't know, others may see it differently. There is a papal bull annulling Magna Carta document that I found as well when all that kicked off in 1211, was it? 1211, don't quote me, roughly then. MCV, yes. You've got to look at what's gone off and how you are. You've always had the good book there, which I'm not saying Christianity, I want you to preach Christianity, but you've had a handbook for the realm and your soul. I'm not saying it's right because of Constantine and the paganism and getting brought into, baptised on his deathbed into Christianity. You don't find that out till you're older, but the different scriptures and books and even, Hinduism, Darwinism, Taoism, all of these beliefs and faiths, interesting, and they all got the same message there. But with regards to property rights and entitlement, Lord God, Saviour, Jesus, Messiah, Witness, Ambassador, Principal, Grantor, Settler, these are all words of power that were kept from you, and you were fed the Magna Carta. So you can take your chapters and you can have them, or you could, and don't forget you're in the public there, with statutory public legislative realms of jurisdiction and authority. When you go with the natural blood, and you have your legal person and your natural person, and you are the flesh and blood man and womb man, then it's a different setup, and people listen, and you can enforce your rights, reserved rights or your reservation of rights, however you put it there. So if you do not reserve and reservation of, then they will assume and presume and put you with under assumption and presumption, and it's statutory declarations and summary judgments for those that play that game, I find.
Check and mate.
That's not to insult anybody. It's said with love. We're in 2020. We've got Aquarius coming up. We've had all of these arguments and discussions, and put your cards on the table. Let's do this nicely with love and honour. The word free man is actually written in some of the books there. A free man, freeborn it is. He's freeborn, not free man. So you can see where they got free man from the freeborn. But that's an interpretation of status, standing and capacity. And the Bible, as Santos and Jordan and many others have said, there's layers and many layers and translations, and it's designed to keep you lost, like Lewis Carroll and the Mad Hatter's Tea Party, in the place that sends you mad. Yeah, I'm going to look at the room, Kev. I'll let you speak.
Oh, thanks. I was just about to have a kip. No, it's all right.
But Quinn agreed. Well said, Quinn.
right, Jerry, I got that, mate. That's fair enough, mate. No worries. It's all right. It's just I won't go and tell him the joke then. He might not appreciate it.
I'd like to comment on Stuart. We have an unwritten constitution. Apparently, we are law. That is right. Not apparently. Know thyself, Plato,
Yeah.
Santos, and with those that are trapped in the body, legal. Those that are of the flesh and blood, they will command law. When you are in your, it doesn't have to be sovereign. It can just be initiate self. Yourself. You've got a self, and you initiate it, like Heike says in the electromagneto, and the illness that you get when you get a virus due to the manipulation of the environment with the waves and the forms and the frequencies, and you get sick. And it's similar too. And it's a realm of knowing that's been disguised through the academic research and outlay, through the doctrines and the prophetic outlets, such as what we've found. They've been infiltrated, haven't they, over time? Science, money, religion, politics, and they've done their best, and here we are. So Kennedy's worst nightmare.
Yeah.
Personified in persona.
Yeah. Turned up. Personam is here.
So yeah, that's why I'm a bit dubious of the Q, because all that's too easy to band together and say. I'm not dubious, doubtful is the word. Not wanting to rely on others.
Well, it's that old shovel assault again, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's your best friend.
Man, and not we are law, to finish off. Man, woe man, man of the womb, is law. You would command it. You get questioned. You are as king the question, asking the question. It's not arrogance, what I would say, as kings. You can have a court venue and you can be told what to do, or you can instruct nicely, with honour and no vexation, and do business. And if you don't know how to do business, then they'll do it for you. What did I see in the comments? Again, back to the room.
Back to room. What did Lux just say back here? I thought I must respond to that. I think I've gone miles past it. I answer in French. They soon hang up. Brilliant.
I answer in French, they soon hang up. Cold call. I had to see that by looks, yeah.
Hello. Bonjour.
Good afternoon, sir. You're speaking to David. How can I help you?
We'll just start shouting. You'll have to speak up. I'm deaf.
Oh, do Johnny.
I can't hear ya.
Sometimes when if I get something and I know you can do like my mate, well, I didn't used to do it, I used to copy him, but there's a lad in Sheffield used to ring people up doing prank calls, called himself Donny Thought Tongue. Yeah, it's me, Donny. And he just thinks he'd ring up and say, just having a laugh, innocent, no offence, but Johnny Short Tongue could speak perfect Queen's English, as horrible as that is, as unperfect as that is, and he'd just go into this mode, this character, and we'd all be howling, it's just incredible. Like what they do sometimes when they find shops with funny names, you find out, joke prank calls and that. I was a big fan of them back in the day. Big Flaps or something was one that we found near Rugby when I was little. It's a truck flap man that did big flaps and stuff, I'll leave it there. Innocent fun.
Oh, that's it.
Innocent fun.
Leave me with the flaps.
We were the cold callers in that day, yeah. Mr. Wall, you got any walls there? Mr. Wall was another one just come to mind.
Yeah, Lux, I went into which I very, very rarely do, go into my spam folder, and I must have had 50 accounts full of bitcoins that, clearly I'd forgotten I had. Yeah, it's good like that, isn't it?
Cheeky little monkeys.
Yes, take piss.
Lisa
But
says,
I've got that true. I don't know if anybody else can get it or uses it. But I've got an app called Truecaller, which all my calls. I only let the calls through it. I don't do texts and that through it. Maybe I should. And that's very good. So it tells you why they're ringing you, if it's spam, what it is. So quite often you can pick it up knowing. I've had the HMRC a few times. Spam one, scam ones. I mean, I like those ones. Every time I know it's HMRC, I really do rip them.
hello, Donny Thought Tongue. Yeah, just go straight into the character.
Oh, that's great. You owe 4,500. No, I definitely owe more than that. That's how I do them. No, I definitely owe more than that. Definitely. You go to prison if you don't pay. Right, okay. We've got the police waiting up the road. Brilliant. I'm standing at the front door. I'm waiting. Please come and get me.
Yeah, they're all quite sharp. I'm looking in the room at the comments, Lisa's, and company's ringing, ring, you've made an order from wherever and you didn't purchase. You give us your bank details. Yes, Dom. Lisa, I hear what you're saying there. Bad English and so forth. That's a classic one, that, isn't it? When they can't even put a sentence. Go on.
Wing it with them, and they ask for bank details. Give them a Moody name, give them a Moody bank number, Moody sort code. Fuck it. It's easy.
That's right, and try not to open the door. If you have got a cold caller, as we politely label them, then visitors are seen strictly by appointment. You are required to make an appointment. So we'll give you the signs and we'll give you the text. Most of you can write that little sentence or two down and put that on paper, laminate it and put it outside. But for those that do not have the resources, printer, keyboard, etc., laptops, all of the office will give you an email with it all in, so you give it a friend to print off, or you can get help with it. We'll type it, we'll format it, we'll check it, and we're not giving you legal advice. We're helping you in law as a family with the Bible codes there. Essentially, the 10 Commandments is what we operate with, and the scriptures. We've looked at many and various. I'll speak for myself. I'm not speaking for Kev. But generally we operate, I can see we do operate on the same parallels, so we all complement each other and we use what works, what's effective, and that's as much as it is. It's not about getting away with anything, it's not about cheating, it's not about fraud. We've been cheated, your grandma, your granddad, your lineage, the battles and everything we've gone through, and we're having it taken away, usurped. I will back up Ike. He's right with what he says, but he needs some more aftercare aspects of it. He reminds me of a younger self, but as a mature man, where you've not having a go, but you've not thought about it, and you've got the passion and the desire and the drive and the market, but you haven't got the support there. It's just blah 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 and hit and the heavyweight things, and you need like a forum for each of his chats, really. So he's given it and he's helping us by the millions of views and the exposure, and people are sharing stuff that wouldn't have shared stuff like that before. One, they've got time, and two, they're concerned about the welfare, money, assets, health, medical, and we can see once again we're at the mercy of, and if ever there's been a time to pray and find solstice in man and what we can do, then now is that time to pray for ourselves, and that we will all be honourable, I suppose. And as we're talking about scams and emails and telephone calls, that tells you where we're at in a battle.
You're safe in here.
Well,
from all that.
Just about. Yeah, we try. Well, common law sheriffs, that's the blue. Everybody's in blue because now you're not common law sheriffs, you're just witnesses and notaries, and we use other words now, of which you are, and you back us up, we back you up, you look after each other, and equality is paramount. So we roll this out. It's worked well before. It just doesn't work well in civilizations that have central banks that usurp and have foreign offshore tax havens that like to start wars with Bibles and take the children and let them disappear. Too many things here in the mix for how serious it is. Being locked up is one thing. Not being able to go out, is doing your your sanity, your mental side. And if you're already afflicted, there's a lot of issues here we're seeing health wise and risk wise, danger wise. We're having setbacks, we're having changes, updates, new men step in, inexperienced. Brexit, anyone? Sorry. Do you want to go back to Brexit now? I think that seems like a bloody play world, doesn't it, compared to where we're at now? Go back to Brexit. Come on, let's get the machine out.
Alias. Yes, well, I tend to agree with you there. It's all blown up bullshit, as far as I can tell from figures alone, and the facts I've seen with my own eyes. So I tend to agree with you there, mate. It's
I'm a numbers man.
Nothing burger.
I'm a numbers man, and I love numbers. I'm not the greatest with them, but I enjoy them, is what I'm saying. And these numbers that I'm seeing, I'm drowning in them. I cannot stay afloat, and I'm a number handler. We've used extensively intricate warehouse management systems, as other managers have. But I loved when you get into a system and you can work it, and you've got, I don't know how many, 2 million pallet spaces roughly of different sizes and shapes and thingies and capacities and departments. And I'm going to run a department which was one of the biggest at that warehouse at the time, and it was a major international .com retail outlet. And you see, that's where the .com, I was in a .com working for, and I was men, women, men at desks packing. I got men, say 20 to 30 packers. Then you've got 10 to 20 putting away boxes on shelves. Then you've got another 10 to 20 men on fork trucks, different types of fork trucks with different reaches for different pallets, locations, and etc. You've got men on little electric things running around doing the other manual picks. You've got people putting away, picking. It was just absolute. When I got there, I wanted to run away and cry. I went, there's no way one man can manage all of this. I'm not going to learn this. And the computer system, Manhattan and Red Prairies, for those in the game. Red Prairie is a bit basic, but it's powerful. 10,000 lines of data to handle at a time, effectively manage stock management of 10,000 items at a time. You need to be careful when you press go on that one, let me tell you. Boss man isn't happy when you make a mistake. And Manhattan was even more intense, and you got everything about everybody, everywhere, every number of staff, every gun, every pick, every pack, and you got the control room saying, so I'm good with numbers, and I've given you a rough run round of what numbers and how many every day, day in, day out. I was very good at my job. I had no accidents, hardly any fights or disagreements. Everybody was happy. It was a good little, safe little environment. I was proud of it at the end, and I nearly cried when I left, even though I wanted to leave. So these numbers that I'm seeing with the continents and the World Health and the rhetoric of the UK and America, I can't deal with it. They're not the same. They're not adding up. They're getting it wrong. They are reporting things falsely. We've got assumptions there, and then all the claims from everything else. I'm afraid I can't cope with it. We need help.
Just laughing to myself when you said, never had an accident. Never had an accident. Seen hundreds.
Yeah, it's right. Yeah. There was 4 trucks going into racking and bashing shells, but no one got injured. I ran it well. I was hard, and there was 2 of us, but sometimes there was just one. And yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot of numbers, and you got this control room every hour. You have to do an update, what you've done, picked, packed, put away. Coming up to peak times in December, 180 staff, and probably 5 of us then, but still 40 each. To run around, and if pit break times and whatnot, and this control room wanting hourly updates, we did it well, and I know others do. It's not anything to be given awards for, but I can cope with numbers, but these I cannot deal with. I've tried every which way, and I can't. There's no truth there at all. The Egyptian claim from David was a good one about the man that was how do I say this, because I'm going to get done here because it's deleted, isn't it? So I've got the video copy of what he said, and
he's the
said,
head of the WHO now, isn't he? Is that the fellow we're talking about?
Yeah, the Tazadaki guy, the man that come on first with the dark hair and darker skinned brother, Egyptian, and Ike made claims about the bit like the model programming that the UK uses, the government that gets it wrong, and there he's on about this bloke's done when he was in somewhere. We'll keep it brief, but apparently there was 3 issues with this, allegedly, the claims are, and it's not looking good.
Yeah. Yeah, he downplayed a certain epidemic 3 times.
Allegedly, that's what we've been told, yeah, led to believe.
Obviously cost a ridiculous amount of lives. Playing all it's all right. And this bloke's now the head of the WHO.
You've got.
They know how to pick these people, don't they?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. They do know how to pick them. Ian Duncan Smith got a reward for his hard work, and he got a knighthood. So when
you're
you
a
say
demon.
Hey?
If you're a demon, you're sorted.
I thought you meant me. I'm going to say why.
Not you.
But yeah.
That's it. You get weighed in. If you're a demon, you're all right.
Yeah, because the devil looks after his
own.
Don't
give a shit. You're sorted.
The devil is in the details. He looks after his own, is what we're finding. So we look after our own.
Justice is coming, though.
The World Health Organization. Let's stick with that a second. Yes, it is. It is coming. The donations. America is allegedly the biggest donation fund-wise to the WHO. And 1 second, and then it's Bill and Melinda Gates, is it not? That's the second biggest funder. And Trump said he's thinking about pulling out his funds to the HO. So it's all interesting times again. That's why we're bringing this up. Go on, I yield.
Yeah, who else is it? What was the name you said before? Bill Wanker and Melinda
Trump is America's the biggest, allegedly, so it said earlier. I haven't checked it. The biggest supporter financially of the WHO.
Soros has got his fucking fingers in that pie as well, hasn't he? That fucking lech.
I asked Anne-Marie about him. I says, she heard of him, but she doesn't want to. She's a bit embarrassed, I think. Because there's this Soros man. He's Hungarian, is he? And she's like, what? I don't know him. I'm not saying that, my darling, but what do you know about him? And she doesn't know a lot, but she knows he's a bad man. I'm just reading.
Yeah, I've just got to the last comment. The latest comment, if you like.
It's buffering. I'm not getting buffering here. My signals and thingies are saying it's strong and good. I can tell when it buffers. So
I've had a little bit. I've had 2 little buffers, but a couple of seconds. They said, for me, I've had 2 little times when a circle went, but literally 2, maybe 3 seconds each time, and then back on. So it's all been good here.
It's busy networks. You got to remember that the whole realm just about everyone's on.
Everybody's on it.
Shipping lines, guidelines, online, everything's lined. We've got to get rid of these lines and go to some curves. I'm telling you, we're going to a spiral thing when we get out of this. No more. We're going to ban lines.
Yeah.
I've got a letter here. I can't read it. It's all in a circle. It's in a spiral. It's tiny and tiny. I swear, no, I'm joking, but I've had enough of lines. What at school, you can write out 1,000 lines. You can for giving the teacher lines again. Doing a line. Wow, here's a DJ. Do you want a line? Oh, God. Just everywhere. I'm sorry, but pinstripe lines, navy blue suits with lines on them. Just a note there. Any more lines you can think of, I'll take them. Throw in the curveball. That's what we're saying. Let's go. Come on.
Sweet.
What does owl say? Who? Twit who? What are you doing? Birds. I have a pigeon in the chat room. Good afternoon, Indy. There is a pigeon in the chat room. An owl, actually. I just need your bank account and sort code. Craig and Williams has enjoyed the sun. Look at that. He's gone for a burn with a roof down.
Fair play. Been luscious.
Warning, someone telling dodgy jokes at the warehouse counter before they turn round and get strewn aloft pales the gag into insignificant. Wow. Thank you, Dom. I'm going to read that again. Someone telling dodgy jokes at the warehouse counter before they turn around and get strewn aloft. Strewn aloft was what got me there. I've got it now. Pails. Strewn aloft and pails. It's an exquisite way of writing that, though. And then the gag into insignificance. Look at the 8 numbers. Come on, Kev, you're there. You all right, lad?
Me, yes, I'm fine. I'm here. I'm reading the room, seeing if there is anything to.
I'm going to say night, Stephen, in case he's on the replay and I missed him and he's replaying now.
Yeah, I did try and shout it over you when you were talking, just because I thought, oh, how long has he been got? How long ago?
Yeah, I heard it. I heard you. He got through. I'm just saying it now, so yeah. Where are we all? Is everybody Anglo? Is anybody not Anglo? I know Anders was Sweden. Yeah. Go on. And Lisa.
Yeah, we've got Wendy's in America. So's Lisa's even further American.
Alaska,
she's
yeah.
Alaska.
I know that. She's got a parcel on the way. Yes, some gans.
I don't know whereabouts Wendy is stateside. I think it might be Wendy put the comment up earlier about, I might get this wrong, but I thought she said the place that a manufacturing the hydroxy quinone or whatever it's called, quinine, hydroxy, is in Corona Avenue, somewhere in Florida or something like that, or California.
Cali, the god of Cali.
Yeah, Corona Avenue.
Californication of Cali.
Oh, it all goes on there, mate.
It does.
Great album that is too.
Oh, some OG cuss.
That well deserving of album of the year that year. Outstanding.
So how are you all feeling? And can I ask a question? On a level of 1 to 10, I'd like just to do a dip test of the scribes. And if you're on the replay, you can still play along. I do look at the comments, but it'll be some weeks in the future.
1 being shit, 10 being fantastic. Swing us some numbers.
Yeah, and how do you feel? What's your biggest problem that you've got, if you have a problem, or your biggest concern? So how do you feel? And what are the concerns? Keep them realistic. I've seen not real. I'll rephrase that. Keep them to localised to you and your family, and as close as you can. These claims of chips and smart dust, and we're aware and we believe, but we're not here to go that far down yet. We've got plenty of time. So for now, just humour me, please. As Kev just said, then 1 to 10 it, and what's 1 poo and 10 good.
Yeah.
All right then, and after that, in the same sentence, so we'd like a number and then a bit of some words, your concerns, and
money,
yeah, well,
that's
what
fair.
it is.
Cleveland's put one in there. Fair play, mate. Yeah.
We'd like to know
Obviously.
how. I'd like to know how the fam is. Not, we can talk all night and get nowhere. So we need the information from these to help us move and correlate.
Yeah, a little bit of feedback would be nice as well. So let us, not asking you to tell us your darkest secrets. If you could email your credit card numbers over to Sovs for safekeeping, because we're all in a trust here. Your PIN numbers, we'll hold them safe.
You're killing me.
And your 3-digit number on the back of your card and expiry dates. That'd be great. And then we'll securely look after them and make sure that you all get safely through this terrible lockdown.
You're a bad man. Philip, what you talking about,
I love
Philip?
you people. I'm just joking. I'm just going to take my headphones off so that you don't hear the ice avalanche while I'm making a drink.
All right,
I shall be about 30 seconds. Thank you.
Smash your telly. It feels great, and we got the tube of you. That was a joke, by the way. You all know that. Les, we love you, Kev. I keep spamming them. They keep coming to my inbox. Email done. Well done, Lux. Q 17 watts in a number. Q equals 17 watts in a number. Ah, Stuart, you got me with a watts. I had to do it twice. Thank you. Yes, the alphabet position, number 17 you're on about, yeah. Thank you. Okay. Have you got a mopped? Oh, Dom, wow. Dad jokes are coming out here, this is brilliant, alright. I'm just seeing if there's any comments we need to pay attention to, and then we'll go to the bottom. Yeah, Q, that's right, Lisa. I like that. That's very apt. Q states, think for yourself, decide for yourself, know yourself. The late great John Watt, he called, took them all on before realising what trust law is. All right, John Harris, Don. Is that what your comment is referenced there? Are you back, Kev?
I'm back indeed. Here we are. What have I missed?
I'm just going up the room, and then I'm just checking for if there's anybody needs a question answering. Then we're going to concentrate on the bottom. Of the comments, how they're feeling, the number 1 to 10, and where they are, how they're feeling, anything like that.
Chippy, how are you? Nice to see you.
Thank you to Jerry. I've rolled up and I found a comment by Jerry. Channel Grand Torino. Had a guy from the Great Australian Party. Thank you, G-Man. I will check that later tonight. I won't be sleeping till 3ish. I went to bed at whatever it was. What time? I think I was on the sofa. Anne-Marie was watching whatever. Yanka was doing her schoolwork, even though it's Easter. She's, bless her, she's doing a bit, just finish stuff off. And I was like, aren't you lovely? You don't have to do it. And you're just finishing it off. And 10:30 I dozed off and woke up about 12 after 2 hours. And you know how you feel. And you've had only 2 hours kip, and but then 12:30 I was all mixed up. I went back to bed till 2 and got back up, and my tooth had eased off. So I'll watch some stuff later.
Yeah, I'll be doing the same. I'm just going to have a little bit of medication upon my finger here.
See, that's another thing. The medicines that we have. I did some alchemical experiments the other day, and I'm already doing them, but I did a new one, and I'm fascinated. I am absolutely amazed that there is a world out there of science that has been hidden. Chemicals.
Easy science.
Oh, wow. The chemicals, though, are bad. But the alchemical side makes you think there's chemicals involved, which there are, but you're not adding extra chemicals, and you're not synthesizing, and they're not the organic compound elements and chemicals that are on the periodic table and in the various forms of biochemistry then that are prevalent in humans and plants. Sorry, I'm not doing human alchemy. No, wow, plant only topics, and metals and plants, because GANS is alchemy, and the silver is alchemy, the hydrogen, gas, water, gas vapor, oxygen, hydrogen. If it is oxygen, I'm believing it is. It may not be. I've had some interesting emails. Thank you for them. You've broke my brain. I can't speak about them because it's too much. You will get to know, but those that have emailed me about oxygen, water, and hydrogen, wow. Here's the claims to say it's something else. And
well, can I just say something?
No, you can't. Oh, Dave, what the hell is this? It's the Dave Show on Indie with Kev as a guest, okay?
Didn't have to ask.
Yeah, go ahead, brother. Sorry. By all means, take it.
Right, when did I get this necklace and bracelet? Saturday morning, I believe it was. So I've got a necklace on, I've got a bracelet on my right side, and I've got to be honest. At the moment,
you should have.
I am consciously noticing my breathing is not as shallow as it has been, considerably not as shallow. I'm actually physically thinking to myself, bloody hell, you're still breathing in.
Oh, you've got more room.
So I'm not saying, it's just at the moment, at best coincidental,
Yes.
maybe.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, thank you.
I have noticed a difference, but I shall report back over the next few days.
Yeah,
That's my honest.
Thank you.
At the moment.
I'll give him my opinion, and once we get more that have had once we start making it, and that will be maybe next week. I hope we'll see how it goes on with the lockdown and what I need to make, and if I've got stuff here to do it, and we'll give more away. We're not selling this. This will be given away. It's just for review, and we know we need. It's like a peer review, but your family. So on the academic side, we have a peer review, and then that gets edited and managed and whatever manipulated. And this side of it, we are happy to have the technology from Anders and what's his name? A horror master. A horror master. Bless him. But yeah, thank you, Kev. That's from a wrist. There's only you are the only one that got a necklace because there was only one spare one, so I gave you the spare one, and then there was 18 wrist charms, bracelets, whatever they are, effectively, and then so many 10, 15 test tubes. So, and that's GANs as well. So if you don't get a bracelet, I can send a test tube out whilst there's still some. I think there's 5 test tubes left. There was 5 test tubes left. I know what's going to happen here. No problem. That's why I said it. And you can take that liquid from inside, shake it all up, mix it, and you take it out with like a printer syringe. If those of you that have refilled printer inks, it's just about everybody, I think. You use that same syringe, non-hypodermic, safe, rounded, and then take the GANs out and put that into receptacles of your choice. And you can join us with the, what is it called? Research Discovery. Alchemics though are good. Yeah, this is it. It's a hidden world, and it's been hidden from us because it was more beneficial to the ones that produce healthcare to do it this way. More beneficial. Sorry, I used the wrong word there. I was in trust and equity. It was more profitable. Got mixed up.
Yeah, Quinn, I know I gave up the voodoo when I left the Catholic Church. They went hand in hand, so that, and of course the biggest thing I miss about the Catholic Church is the Nazism and the fascism. Yeah, I really miss that.
I'm looking and who put that comment about the chip and the numbers, about the barcodes, beginning of the barcode 6, middle of the barcode 6, end of the barcode 6, denoted by the 2 lines that hang down. I like them numbers. I can't see, the room's gone fast, but there was a comment, I think it was from one of the sisters, maybe Lux or Lisa, about the chips and numbers in that going to 666, 217 or something.
Oh yeah.
I saw some numbers briefly. I grabbed them as it scrolled past. Let's have a look. How are we feeling? Where are you? I want to see these numbers.
Keep slinging me out the room saying I've lost connection to the server, but then go straight back in, no problems. I'm not losing anybody like I normally do. Obviously, I can't speak to the volume because I'm looking at the room on the tablet. Obviously, I'm speaking to you on the phone, so the volume's down on the tablet, so we don't get any echo. So I don't know I can't suss that out or listen to that, see how it's going.
Brightain. Who's written that? Again, it's just moved. Stop it. Anglo, Suffolk, Brightain. Britons. I like that. Well, I like that word. It's my favourite one of them all. Anglo, England, UK. I prefer Briton. NTAG, Cleveland Max. There we go. Thank you. Warning, a certificate is not evidence of COVID-19. Well said.
No, that's right.
What? It's almost like the BC disclaimer, but slightly different there. Evidence of identity is now COVID. Lux, It is what we have is the CO2 GANs made with zinc and copper. Um, yeah, the CO2 that's come off that, the zinc and copper. CO2 GANs is what Anders says it is. I'd have to refer to it. It's non-toxic. It's not harmful. You're not to ingest it. If you get it on your skin, it will only irritate. It won't burn. It won't give you anything. There's nothing to come back. I've put it on my skin and tested that as well. Um, so it's CO2 GANs, and the body contains the metal compounds of such elements. I don't know, mercury, iron, zinc, magnesium, etc. And as you have these inside you, as composition, as your constitution, um, then the GANs interacts with that. It's all to do with what is it? Organic balanced. Anders said something quite beautiful about it. Atomically perfectly balanced to resonate with, and I can't give you all that because it's still new to me. But there is different types of GANs, compound wise, element wise, and then compound metals, and then you've got a magnetic type and a gravitational. So there's videos on here to scroll back on, and you'll find and other such places to look at, but not many academic routes. You'll find again like it's been deleted as if it was never there. Yeah.
Yeah. Bastards.
Missing time, missing history. And it's like a UFO abduction, but with history this time. Seem to have lost 4 centuries. What? When? Where are we?
Nice.
If we're locked up still in a month's time then, because my born day is the 9th of May, then I intend on a sunny day, maybe a bit of a mix, I think, for a couple of hours, do some old school retro.
I'll play a set for you as well, Dave, eh?
Then my birthday, so I might come on tube May the 9th, if we're still in this situ, and get some classic beats.
We're here until July. That's out in the summer. Or feral.
Yeah.
Straight for the pubs. We'll get pissed and have a big fight, smash the place up, then they'll lock us down again because we can't behave ourselves.
Oh man. Yeah. We'll get some music together. We'll take some requests, and you got a copyright, you see, so we can't have it's not public. Got to be careful. There's only a limited amount I can get away with copyright with.
Yeah, they don't like you going live with it, do they?
No, I've done it. I've got some videos on here that have been left because they're not. They are copyrighted, but they haven't been listed and registered and all of that. The acetates, white labels, all of the rave back in the 91 and that. It's on YouTube, and there's thousands of millions of views and hits and copies and shares and mirrors, and it's going all right. The Dreamscape, Fantasia, Helter Skelter, Q Club, Q Club, Sugar, Q Club Birmingham. Back in the day, I was DJing with DJ Q before Q was Q. Oh, he was already there, weren't he? Because it's from Kennedy, so allegedly. I don't have any evidence of any of this. But the Q Club Birmingham, that was a place of messiness. I think I found the word spangled monkey from that club. What's a spangled monkey? You'll know at 6 o'clock, Dave. Enjoy the next 5 hours. I can't see the mixer, I'm blind, I think I said to him about 5.
Yeah.
I've gone cross-eyed, blind drunk.
I'm dribbling into the crossfader.
Blind drunk. Why'd you go blind drunk? Oh, mans that have said to me, I can't see. And I'm like, joking me, aren't you? And I've never until that day. And I was a spangled monkey. I'm like, so I'm spangled and you're blind and we've got to walk home. Great. We didn't. We got a taxi. It weren't that bad, but yeah, going blind drunk. Anybody ever gone blind drunk or know anybody? I know I've drifted, but DJing music parties, birthdays, loose thread, blind drunk. Wow. I hope that never happens to me. I didn't see many numbers. I saw a few places where you are, and yeah. Warning, pseudoscience exposure ahead. We agree there, yes. And he's not talking about the gangs, he's talking about the UK realm politics with who? Exactly.
Yeah, I saw that.
You got Belinda and Bill Gates there.
That right?
Running a show, taking over the world. Tesla. Oh, that was good. About how many satellites did he say Elon Musk has got? And a million ground aerials. I was like,
Ground
what?
antenna, a million, yeah.
And 47,000. I thought, hang on, if there was such a thing as what you're telling us in this realm up there, low orbit satellite. Oh, we get you then. We get you. So they're just going round and round on the flat then, because you can't get into space, can you? Allegedly. So we found. It looks like. No is the answer. I'm not saying that's definite, but it looks like no is the answer to me. I like that, Don. Can we create our own bank and flip out fractional reserve round I give you 100 and get 1,000 of something I can pay my bills with? Cleveland privately, yes. You could set a syndicate up like the Afro-Caribbeans did when the banks wouldn't lend them money shortly after slavery, etc. But we're all walking central banks and we want the TDAs and to go from civilly engaging in this sinful occupation of sexual malicious intercourse, military, commercial intercourse to a course, lines, boats, intercourse, course of inter, you see. You know, we're going into the private fam with your thumb and your autograph and into the land of, if it's possible, we're going. If it's not, we need another option, which means we'll talk later in private. Which means we need to have a private chat, yeah. It does, in a field. A lot of us.
Certificate not evidence of COVID. What else we got?
Some gin tonic water shares must be going on.
Yeah, somebody's just gone, I know, fucking tell them tonic water. Because all the supermarkets going, fucking hell, stacks of that shit. Yeah. I know, tell them that works. Hey. Well, as soon as I saw the chloroquine part of that other hydroxychloroquine or whatever it is, I knew exactly that quinine straight away. So, I knew it's in tonic water. Go buy some. I'll start injecting it in my eyes.
Lux has got some woodpeckers in the vicinity and she thinks she's in Predator. And she doesn't think, but it sounds like she's like that noise effect.
Yeah.
Anytime.
I know exactly the noise you mean, yeah.
I can't recreate that. Yeah. Yeah, I did enjoy them films. Aliens and Predator, I was mesmerised by. I did enjoy them, to be fair. Arnie kicking the door, number one, knock, knock. I'll never forget that. That was such a scene. What a man, what an actor.
Did you listen to that tune I sent over to you?
No,
Get to the Chopper.
Not yet, no. What is it called?
Get to the Chopper.
Is this a jungle tune by any chance? No.
No, it's bass line, underground, garage.
All right then. Oh, nice one. Okay.
But you've got to hear it. It's Arnie in Predator screaming, "Get to the chopper!" But has only a couple of parts. But what more could you make?
Yeah.
Banging tune with Arnie going, "Get to the chopper!" And then the drop comes in. It's wicked, mate. Listen to it. I sent it to you on WhatsApp. Cause and effect.
There's a question from. All right, thank you. Oh, no, cause and effect. Yeah, so thank
Cause
you.
and effect. Get to the chopper.
Oh, okay then. Jerry's got Kojiman's got a question for you there, Kev. Look.
What's that?
There you go. I'll let you see that. It's right at the bottom. If you have asked a question, go on.
You mean? There's a question here from Jerry. I'm just looking at. You mean Leonard Rossiter?
Look at that.
Is that
straight
who you're
away.
talking about?
Boom.
Leonard Rossiter with what was her name?
Rigsby. Is that Rigsby to me?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Leonard Rossiter.
I'm just trying to play
and
in.
then was it Jones something, was it? I might get that wrong. She was just in, she was in all the What's It films, wasn't she? Some of the Harry Potter stuff.
Oh, wow. And what was the...
She was the big, tall one that Hagrid was dancing with.
Oh, right, okay then, thank you for that.
I can't think of her name. I know it was Miss Jones in Rising Damp.
Miss Joe, wow. You're making me feel eight again.
Didn't the coloured, what was his name? The coloured fella, didn't he die recently?
Oh,
I thought.
Yes, I know what you mean. He was very posh, wasn't he? And for a darker skinned brother.
Collins. Not Joe Collins.
Wait, at this same time in the evening on a different channel, or it may have been the same one, I was always at my grandma's at the weekend when this come on, Rising Damp, and I'd remember this is reminding me of being 8, sat with my grandma and granddad now, good times. And there was another show that started with a fire, and it had weird storylines to it, and the beginning to it had like what you've just recorded. I'm asking
Tales
you
of
this.
the Unexpected.
Well, that was the one with fire and dancing and weird 2 images.
Yeah.
And that was a good one. That one as well.
Tales of the Unexpected. Yeah.
It was on either on the same channel, or my grandma used to flip it over, and then after Rising Damp, Tales of the Unexpected, I think it was Agatha Christie or Poirot, Marpley, and Ed Woodward used to come on. The Equalizer, the original one from like '89, midnight. Yeah, man. Thank you for that. Reminiscent of memories. How did we get onto that? What was the acid question?
You started it. You started
G-Man.
it with
It was a
Leonard
G-Man.
Rossiter.
G-Man asked a question about acid.
Oh, did he? What? We went to Leonard Rossiter.
That's where I'm going.
Fucking hell, we're tripping. How did we do that? Where's G-Man?
Do you remember the acid, Kev, with the lad out of Rising Damp on the plane?
Oh,
so
right.
That was the
deep.
question.
I'm looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. Oh, what was that? Oh, I fucking have to look it up in a minute. I think COVID could get in. Oh, yeah, cool, yeah.
Cleveland, I could have done with not knowing that, to be fair, but I'm glad we distill and boil and
Now, did we not say positive vibes? Now, Cleveland's come in, poisoned the fucking lot of us one fell swoop, and we're all fucked.
Oh, Cleveland.
Don't worry, everybody. Any worriers out there, Cleveland's just joking. He's got some wicked sense of humour.
So, promissory notes, die bank managers. What's that? He's gone. Promissory notes, 1 minute. I wanted to read that. Do die bank managers have to accept by law? We have books. What I'd invite you to do, Cleveland, is look at the constitution of the banking area. Then look at the constitution of money, monetary mechanics. What did we do? We got the bills of exchange. We looked at, there was some Paul Webster and Thingy videos actually with some recordings in. I think this channel has got, who is it? Come on, Lord, come on, what's his name? Denning, Lord Denning. This channel, Lord Denning. I rest my promissory notes. I've got the video, if it hasn't been deleted. If not, search for case law, Lord Denning. Is it that? I believe it is. We're just having a friendly private chat, and I'm a bit tired.
Yeah, Lord Denning also makes the statement on administrative courts in Housebury's.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Stuff like that, yeah. Cleveland, it was funny, mate.
It was, yeah.
We were laughing about it. We weren't taking the piss out of you, mate. It was funny.
You like it?
Sorry, we were just taking the piss that, about us being sort of started on, or we're trying to keep on a positive note. And I'm just taking the piss that you've come in and gone, back it, we're all done with the water. It's all going in the water now. Just making a joke out, mate. You were funny. It was funny. Don't take it the wrong way. I apologise, mate. It wasn't meant like that.
No, we're here to have a laugh. That's exactly the point. Yeah, with dark humour, with some of us are smokers. Yeah, and we got coughing humour, dark humour. We're facing uncertainty in the face for an indefinite period. So we're facing. Let me just repeat that. We are facing as a landmass, as a man, as a sentient inhabitants, indigenous, or to this planet realm, and we are facing an uncertain place, destination in an indefinite time. We don't know how long it's going to take us to get to somewhere where we don't know. So please make us laugh.
Well, look, Dom's just dropped in there. Just a cut up from the last comment. He said, "Arves on the lowest ever interest mortgage, anyone?" Very good point, yeah. They'll be throwing it at you. Brilliant, mate. Nice one.
Job club. Let's start a job club. I'm a job seeker.
Cleveland just about to do exactly that. Get a bit of moonlight on my skin.
The moonlight shadow.
You can't let him get you down. I tell you, you got to laugh about this shit, no matter how bad it gets, or it'll drive you mental. Humour in everything. I find something funny in everything. Helps me immensely. Sometimes it's maybe not appropriate, but hey. But no, you've got to have a laugh, have a joke. Don't worry if you're... No point worrying about nothing. It's just going to make matters worse. And if we're all going to get ill, you don't want to make yourself iller.
No.
I know it's easier said than done, but yeah, if you can try not to just sit back, roll one up, chill out.
Oh, goodness. Get a drink.
What's going to happen is going to happen. It's abundantly clear that whatever's coming this time, we're not going to stop, because there's just not enough awake people, unfortunately, and I've got a horrible feeling that's the way it's going to stay. They're all too much fluoride. They're all fucked.
Well, yeah,
Excuse my French. I meant to say effect.
What we need to do is, what you see, they're very good at what they do. The not the elite, but the bloodlines that have got control here, and they plan stuff, as we've found, centuries, thousands of years in advance. If the Bible and Constantine is out to go by there, prophecies coming true. Well, that's because they're working from the book that he wrote. That's a saying? You're working from the book that I wrote there. So we need to know that we're safe, and that we are going to be safe, and then we can resourcefully, rely on ourselves if the time hath come. But we don't have resources, and we don't have a military. What's the word? Is it the militarized? What did Kennedy put it now? Militarized. Yeah, institutions. We've got military everywhere, haven't we? The military is everywhere. I can't think of the exact words what he said. If we allow...
Military industrial complex.
That's the one, Mr. Coffee. Thank you.
Sorry.
It's all right, carry on.
I got all excited and started choking because I knew the answer.
For those that don't smoke, these are reasons why you shouldn't start.
Yeah, listen to me. This is Kev's anti-smoking lesson. Just listen. I was just going to say to Adius, I just love that porridge there. I still like it when one of the best lines is when Godber says to Fletcher, he says, "What are you in for?" He says, "I got caught."
I love that show. Porridge, was it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, yeah, that was a classic one, that one. Fletcher. Yes, I do remember that one quite well now. And the shop one, Gladys, Granville, I like that one. Was it David Jason in it? Was the...
After Hours.
Oh, right. Open all hours. Open
all hours, that's it.
Ah, yes, that was a good one too. I didn't like the one that had him that said, "I'm free." He scared me, that blonde-haired weirdo. I'm not sorry, but I was young and impressionable, and I was like, what? That's not normal.
John Humphreys.
Yeah, whatever that was, him. I'm free.
So, Are You Being Served?
That's the one. You see, these classic Saturday night TV that they don't make no more.
Yeah. With loads of innuendo.
Love Thy Neighbour, BBC classic.
Oh, well, fucking hell.
Goes to show you, doesn't it?
You get crucified, you put that on now, wouldn't you?
It makes Roy Chubby Brown look tame, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
No, Chubby Brown got his ideas from, isn't it? When you say,
They
yeah.
even had made programmes about the divisions in the 70s and put them on telly and called them soap operas.
Oh yeah, that's where Lenny Henry started, wasn't it? Was it Lenny Henry? Did he start in that?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh no, he was.
I thought he started off on Tiswas, didn't he?
I don't know.
So
I
he got
heard
his
him.
big break. And I know he was a comedian, but his big break with Tiswas. I know he was doing, they used to do the comedian nights. We'd have different comedians come on. It was like, not opportunity knocks or anything, but similar sort of thing.
Mm.
In fact, there was a show in Simply called The Comedians. About an hour long, you just get different people coming on. Might have been somewhere there that he first got his break.
I think it was. I saw him talking about the minstrels and Love Thy Neighbour and the 80s and how he started and where he was and
The
what it was
Minstrels
like.
was outrageous, if you think about it now. Do you remember that?
Yeah, he was talking about it, saying he just got into TV. He was a darker skinned, and he was getting oppression and racism, and he was coming up in the BBC, and he did a really good interview actually about how his time was, and I forget now, it's too long ago, but yeah.
Thanks, Craig. That's the fella. New faces and stuff like that. That's those sort of show.
Shows of the 80s, yeah, cartoons and TV shows. Monkey. They've remade Monkey. They've not only remade Monkey, but they've made films called The Monkey King. And I watched one the other day. I watched one before, and there's 3 of them, I believe.
He appears in quite a lot of those films like that, actually. Monkey. Hanneman, isn't it?
Yeah, that's him, yeah.
Yeah, Hanneman, yeah.
In the beginning, there was Monkey. I'm like, oh, wow, Monkey.
I remember
yes,
we watched it, downloaded that a few years ago now and watched it all again.
But I've got something to tell you that's important that I don't want to forget. So it wasn't until I watched the remake of I've started watching, I didn't like it, I stopped on episode 2 and went, it's just not the same. I'm not enjoying it. But in this preview of the new remake, Tributaka, they're doing the story again from the beginning. And obviously, I've seen all the originals. I've got collected and got them tucked away. But these ones, she says, because I always wondered. Well, what I'll say is, in the first ones in the 80s, Water Margin and Monkey Magic. Monkey Magic had Tributaka. Tributaka was a boy in the show. It was a boy. He was a boy, but it was a girl on a horse. And all these years, I've been like, why? It's such a massive mistake. How can you put a girl in a show and call it a boy? I missed the story, obviously. In this one, I found the story, so it was nice.
I still would have.
Yeah, it was, missed it again, second time around. Ships passing in the night. Hong, hong. What you talking about, Phillips? He's passed out in the garden, in the moonlight. Yeah, that was nice, because it warped my mind a little bit, confused again. I have questions, me, as I was younger. But why, at the age of 9, from 2, but why?
Kung Fu.
What's that?
Kung Fu.
Yeah. Tributaka.
Trippy fucker, yeah. Pigsy.
Yeah, Monkey, Pigsy. Sandy, Tributaka.
Yeah, but why did he have a normal name?
I know, yeah. Things, memories, you see, times, little TVs, 4 channels.
He used to go, didn't he? And the cloud would come. He called a cloud down by blowing across his fingers.
He had a staff, pick matchstick thingy that grow bigger, and just amazing concept back in the day, Japanese TV. You see,
went on forever though, didn't it?
Yeah, like longer than Cell Block. Sorry, I had to get that one in. The other one from the 80s, who remembers Big Die X? It was called Starfleet. I think one of the UK pop bands sung the theme tune to it. Starfleet. Yeah, it was a red robot, and it was a puppet. It was like a rival. It's where Hanson and Barbera and others got is it not Hanson and Barbera? Anderson and other one with the Thunderbirds, and who was it? Jerry Anderson and Hanna-Barbera. That was something totally different, but you had Anderson.
That's cartoons.
Yeah, the puppetry, Thunderbirds, Terrorhawks. Yeah, Terrorhawks.
Yeah, that was all Anderson.
Yeah, the Chinese.
Yeah, I know him.
Go on.
Did know him and his missus.
Really?
Met him many times. Yeah.
Jerry.
Yeah, they were friends with They were Friends with a guy called Jesus Christ. What was his name? Had an antique shop in Ripley in Surrey.
We do believe
Tony Welling. An antique shop.
Welling. Tony, you're Welling. That's a good name.
Welling up. And he was friends with Tony, and I was friends with another couple of guys that knew Tony, and they'd met him loads of times. I met him 2 or 3 times, and Sylvia at one point.
Was that his wife?
The ex, yeah.
All right. Wow.
I think Jerry likes to be a backdoor accent, if you know what I mean.
Stop it. Yeah. I do, yeah.
You have to go and dig him up, find out.
So back to Starfleet Puppets, Japanese show, rivaling where they got their ideas from, I believe, and it was called Starfleet. It was a red robot, similar to Terrorhawks, which was equally freaky and scary with Zelda and her son there. He used to come on and go, jelly, mother, jelly, and he used to scare the hell out of me, and Zelda did. But back to Big Die X, that was the best one because it had a big red robot in, and his head used to come off, his body used to go into one bit, and his legs and body would go off, and then the feet would go off, and you had like a man controlling the 2 feet, a man in the head, a man in the body bit, and then it joined back up, and it'd just be like epic battles of aliens. And in the 80s, you know, there was zapping sounds and all of the synthesized things they put in. That was amazing to me. And if you remember that, my favorite show of all time, Monkey and Starfleet. After that, Saturday, we're talking Saturday dinner times now, mid-80s, you'd have Shirley Crabtree come on and Giant Haystacks or equivalent and start wrestling. And then on Sunday, you'd look forward to The Little House on the Prairie. After Pob. Was it Pob? Pob on the TV, cleaning the screen with big ears.
He used to spit on the screen, didn't he?
Yeah, spit clean, do something, yeah.
He just walk up to it, spit on it, yeah, then he'd clean it up, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what was Little House on the Prairie? Remember that?
That's so horrible. It's the worst time for me, that when that music come on and my sister fighting over the TV, one TV in the house.
Old Black Beauty, fuck off, you dopey horse.
Yeah, I weren't into that one. No, mate, some good stuff.
Anne of Green Gables. Who remembers that? But Alias does.
I was into me David Banner, Gamma Ray, Business, The Incredible Hulk. That was a good one. Scientist, actor. Yeah. Steve Austin, just by going and slowing it down, made him. I look at it now as an adult and go, "Wow, I was easily tricked as a child." Slow him down and excellent now. Yeah, man. That's it. That's the 80s nostalgia done with. We cleared that cupboard out.
Let's move on to the 90s.
All our yesterdays.
Oh dear.
Can we have a ventilator for Kev, please? Nightingale. I'm going to get onto Nightingale. 1 minute. Just let me get onto the... See if it's on. Yeah, we got it. 1 minute, Kev. Hello, Nightingale. Receiving Nightingale. This is Cobra Fox, Sovereign Leader Gold 1 Initiate of Mastery. We need one for Kev, please, at the usual location. Thank you.
What, no Roger?
Hello?
Mate?
Roger? Oh, Roger. Are you there, Roger? Roger, it's an emergency. Sorry, no, there's no answer from them. You have to hang on, Kev.
They'll never take me alive.
I know that, yeah. Many of us, after what we've seen and what we've got no evidences when we operate. Proof of claim, substance over the form. Yeah, we'd like to know. We don't know. What am I now, Little House? And look at the room, what we've done to the room, Kev.
Little House on the Prairie.
question. Is anyone else here thinking? I'm looking, I can't see the question now.
What was that then?
Cat Ness says, anyone thinking? And she said question, but or are we all observing from self? Can't answer that at this time. I ain't had enough sleep. I've got a throbbing tooth, and we're just on casual street. But we can come back to that as too deep for me at this time. That's 2 hours and 15 that's flown by in the blink of an eye, Kev.
Fucking hell, sorry. Excuse my French again. Oh, see, it's gone. That's the midnight watershed. It's all coming out now. I'm turning the censorship off. It soon goes, mate, doesn't it?
Women have played boys. I've lost that comment. Yeah, it does soon go. Yeah, that's the point I was making though. Yeah, it confused me, and the women and boys and mixing it up, and yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh, looks, I'm sorry about that. I've just caught a comment at Craig about your oldest boy, soldier, damaged man at 35, 18 months on battlefront wearing 5G battle tank headgear. Oh, wow. So as if the war isn't enough, the tech. And then let's think, I'm not here to, I'm going to be realistic, but then they got the injections and that as well, and all the desert stuff, and oh, bless you. If ever he needs help and we can chat privately in any way, anything like this, not just to looks, but we'd take an honour and a privilege in just having a chat, just like this, but privately, letting them offload and having a good old slanging match. If it brings a smile and helps, then we can do that as well. Maybe a few of us, it might be better to do a big group thing like and talk together, but not public because we'll get shot. Literally.
No, definitely not public. Keep that in the private.
It's not good, is it, that help for heroes when you've gone out and done whatever Queen and country, and then you've got to rely on handouts.
Well, yeah, they'll make that difficult, as you know. Fucking arsehole. Yeah, take the shilling, get fuck all.
It's not good, that, is it, when you look at the monies involved.
Yeah.
Because you sign up and you volunteer and you go in, and I'm not saying it's right, but we can kind of work out now why things are. If you think about it, a man with a Bible starting a war, a man that's following of the faith, religion, and then going into war, you've kind of done the wrong thing, haven't you? Even though they say it's honourable, they trick you. It's all about tricking you. They'll trick your soul from you. In a way, and they'll know that they're tricking your soul from you, and they don't care at all. You think I'm doing it for Queen and country, you come back and you got issues and you get no care whatsoever.
Nothing. See you later.
Same for the police, in some ways they don't make it back from coming home, and they need support, training, everything like that, back up. I saw a story just to show love for the family that get up and do this job and try to civilly, maintain law, rule, code, etc. Law, code, and rules. I heard that an officer was called to somewhere. This was about a week or so ago, and I just thought, oh wow, that's awful, is what I actually thought. And he went to a last job and never made it back, and he should have been clocked off, and he didn't, and he knew, he had to go and sort stuff out, so he went and did it, and something went wrong, and he's no longer, on the plane. So I was like, wow, it's, all that shift, and you'd finished and everything, and you could have gone home, and you're doing the good thing, and you ended up not making it. So sure, work that out, So we have sympathised. I'm not, and Kev isn't here to, I know Kev's definitely not here to slag him off. It's just, we have to be truthful with the evidences and facts, don't we?
Oh. Yeah. What else can you do?
Stare at
walls.
walls.
For all for so long, you could do that if you like. It won't be as satisfying.
Be happy. Happy days. The Fonz. Hey, Richie. Knight Rider, Airwolf, Street Hawk. Oh, quality. Craig's going to make some moonshine.
Fair play. Why not?
Don't forget porridge, and don't forget the wise words from Fletcher. Don't let the bastards grind you down. Yes. Yeah. I like that. I did forget that.
Resilience. Ouch.
You're welcome, Cleveland. That's what we're here for. We don't give advice. We just, you ask a question and we'll give what we know in knowledge back to you. And evidences and things, so to help it out. You remember promissory notes and let me think, how did we do this? There's a video with me and Paul Webster chatting, 1882 bills of exchange, promissory notes and etc. Raconteur news. I did want to go over and have a chat, but it didn't work out. Super Leeds came in and said, sorry, it's not happening. So for whatever reason, I was up for it. It didn't work out, but the man there, Paul, we were talking about him being in, he was talking about him being in the magistrate and the charges wanting to be settled. And the clerk, he said what he said, referred to the paperwork, etc. You'll find, what you need to find. And you're in a public courthouse, so you can't go, honourability with regards to private discharge routes, private remedy for charges. So you're in a public courthouse. And you're trying to show respect and that. You got your paperwork, you got everything in time, and now you're doing the dance. And refer to the paperwork for the charges and the settlement. And the judge is looking at it, magistrate's judge, but it's not a judge at all. And it's just someone that's had some training, that thinks they're now in law. And they've turned around and shouted out to the clerk to come over. 1882 bills of exchange. What is this? The magistrate says to the clerk, what is this? I'm like, wow, carry on. And the clerk's like, well, my honour, this is not something for this arena and venue. This is what we would call a private remedy, such and such effected in, and blah, 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 and you see the video, Paul will tell you. It's there, and then he's not wanting to do that in that jurisdiction and venue, and we have an issue there, so we're talking private remedy in the public area, instructing and authorising to do, but not wanting to. So why don't magistrates know, number one, and is that the correct venue to be doing that? No. So when we say the paperwork proceeds to offices and so forth, then that's what you try to do. But others have come along and said notice and discharge and promissory note and executive financial officers and so forth, and notarise and everything that you've learned to do to discharge and transfer via endorsement. So that you get some that argue that, well, you're considered a militant combatant, that's a sinner, a debtor, you're assumed and presumed, you've got the certificate, you can't do nothing, Dave. You are basically a scumbag that has got no rights and no life, no soul, no property. Enjoy that. I'm like, well, who says I'm a scumbag with no rights and no soul and no property? If you believe that and you go through your life suffering and going to the churches which house the suffering defined is to endure is to allow. So the churches are built for those that allow them to be you see. So somebody's got to break the chain and have a go, and that's what we're all doing here. So thank you. And that's for Cleveland and all. So it gets messier and stickier when you say, oh, thanks, nice one, and you find all the proofs of the discharge, transfer, endorsement, bills and whatnot and settlements. Then you try and effect it. Good luck with that one, my son. It's very few and far between. Accounts being zeroed and discharge and settlements, promissory notes being kept, holders in due courses, horses for courses, and I'll leave it there. And I just look up and see the Hammer House of Horrors by Dom, aptly after that explanation. It is exactly that. It's like being in the financial Hammer House of Horrors. Put your hand in there.
Lisa, James, love to you both. Good luck with the tree. Don't let James near that saw. Don't know what he's doing. Anyway. Yeah. No, see you soon, Lisa. Love to you, and to James. Love to both of you.
Hang on a minute. Which Lisa's going?
Lisa Gray.
I say it's a bit early, isn't it? Oh no.
She's explained there. James has chopped a couple of trees down earlier. She's got to go out and limb them all.
All right, then yeah, we'll let Mum off then. We'll let her go. Yes. If you don't know, now you know. Wigger making biggies off the smalls. I like that.
Have you listened to that?
What's that? Sorry, go on.
Sent you that as well. I sent you that tune as well over the other day.
Biggie Small.
Sean Dean.
All right then. Yeah, I'll just
send you WhatsApp, mate. Crank that on as well.
Yeah, man, nice one.
You'll like that. I'm going to listen to that as soon as we're finished. Funnily enough.
What a lady, yeah. Fair play, Sister Lisa.
Yeah, she is. Yeah. I live a different life up there, mate. Alaska. Come on, get a grip. None of us know what that's like. We all go, oh, it's 3 degrees under freezing. Oh my God, can't go out. Lisa and James are up there in -40. Beyond.
Yes, aye. Well done. Yeah.
Chopping their own wood. You want warm? You've even got to go and hunt for trees. That's the sort of life they're living. Fair play to them.
I'll ask her later. Me, if I was James, I'd be like, I'll ask her later. I'll ask her. But Dom's asked a question, Kev. I'd like to answer it, just to answer that. What's the difference between the bills of exchange and a promissory note? We'll go with a promissory note first. That is an instrument, and it's a financial instrument. It's a private one, like a bond, and you do that privately through your estates with the authority, autographs and etc. It is not public, and it's not for the public. It's a private remedy. And then you've got the bills of exchange. I've done this on purpose because the bills of exchange are from 1882. And those are the bill. So what is a bill? It is an apparatus. So search what a bill is, what a bill does. Why do Parliament issue bills? You get an order, you get a bill. Orders and bills, restaurant meal, eateries, etc. So the bill is kind of a constitution in my mind. Right? This is me, not law, not legal society. Just me, David. It's a guidance on how to manage through that. So with trust you have equity, with finance you got the bills of exchange, so that's your governance and covenants of what can, whom, status, standing, capacity to do with, not so much as in legal status standing, but what you are and are permitted to do, what they will allow, because it's not a sovereign system. It's not a system of natural divine positive law. It's a Roman totalitarian tiptoe club of Rome special setup and bonded trust. This isn't any kind of trust. This is an extra special one. So.
It's a special secret construed trust.
With a red-eyed papa.
Can I just say, I got new name in, Kellyanne. Hi, how you doing? Stick around. You pick it up. We're a bit all over the place, a bit random tonight. But welcome. Nice to see you.
Yes, hello there. Kellyanne, did you say?
Yes.
All right, that was Dom. Lisa's gone, yeah. So we've been on 2.5 hours so far. I'm not wanting to do a great more. I've got some things to do and I want to relax. And you've taken my mind off the pain though, so thank you for that. I hope we've taken your mind off the strain off your mind.
Chill, people. What will be, will be. We'll all be cool.
Why can't I see Kellyanne? I'm going to refresh.
Positive. Get up and smile. Enjoy this time that we're locked down. If you've got family, that you know, whatever. If you have to be at home with them, don't look the gift horse in the mouth as much of a nightmare as it can also be. Enjoy it for what it is. You might never get this opportunity again for this amount of time, you know.
Stop the train, I want to get off, yeah. I've utilised it privately, jobs that we need to do, and what can you do when you're in this situation, and let your family and bits and bobs and chores, maybe a day. You can only go out once a day. That's your limit, you remember. I'm not telling you that. That's what the guidelines are, aren't they?
Remember, they are guidelines, but of course you've got the Nazi Gestapo enforcement out there willing to try and turn a quid at any opportunity, so be warned. Don't trade with them if you don't have to.
That's right. Yeah, well, Theresa May, we are policed by consent.
Yeah.
Bosh. But what she missed out there, right, was we are in the UK. We are policed by presumed consent. is what the reality is. But what she said was minus the presumed prior to consent, and just we are policed by consent. What she failed to explain was that in the current UK construct of England and Britain, on top of it, like your common law at the bottom and your statutory and common law and equity, and then your statutory and code and secular and admiralty maritime governance on top of that. You know, you've got your presumed person, occupation, birth certificate, occupation, occupier, occupy, military occupy, etc. There's more, but I'm not going to go there. I'll keep it brief. You have got codes out of Westminster, UK government mandated by default upon your person via assumption and presumption. That's a fact. That's what we're finding. So Theresa and that statement there is presumed consent, and if it is by consent, then every officer would ask you, do you consent? Not do you understand? They would question you for the answer of yes or no for consent, but there is no answer for yes. There is no question for you to answer to gain yes or no for consent. So that's where you, Mr. John Smith. No, I'm not. I'm John. Oh, you looked, according to us, you've got details on you printed, and these are our details. They're on our systems, and you're carrying them. So therefore, you are Mr. John Smith because you carry the government's ID for Mr. John Smith. I'm like, whoa, hang on a minute. Well, it's a mistake. I'm innocent. I'm just looking after it for Mr. John Smith. He's not here at the moment. He's dead. Next thing, I'm going down for murder. What? No, it's gone messy now. You know. So just know that's what they say. Like the Scottish Minister of Health that got caught. And Sturgeon could finish it off for me. I can't speak, you know.
Jesus
do Christ. As we say, not as we do.
Yeah, like you must all stay in, don't move. Hey kids, come on, let's jump in the car and drive to our other house while all the plebs are out the way. Fucking hell. That would be.
And then to be caught once, you know, and then twice.
Oh. Exactly. It just says everything about them. It tells you everything you need to know about those sort of people.
Oh, the hell? Do you know who I am? Yes. And you've just told us all to stay at home, and here you are for a second time on the bloody road. You're coming with me, love. That's what it went down there. Well done to those officers. Kudos. Yeah.
Can't deal with you till the morning. You're in the slammer.
Who was that guy? Who was that guy on about stuff? I can see him. I'm going to say it, and you'll say it straight away. But he's a wibbly, big, pale man. That was, I think he was in the. I don't know if he was Prime Minister, but he was somewhere, probably number 11 or roundabout. And he was on about costs and cutting and so forth. And one of the media paparazzi rags said, never mind culling all the public and X, Y, and Z. You've got 2 Jags that you run around, pal. You know, like that woman with a second down. What was his name? 2 Jags. Yeah, you see.
Yeah, it was Labour, wasn't he?
That was hilarious as well. That just because you said 2 homes, it reminded me of 2 Jags, which is another accurate.
Can't think of his name.
John Prescott, by any chance? Prescott?
Yes.
Is it him? Wibbly, large, portly, pale, stale. Yeah, man. Hilarious. You know. Expenses. But yeah, if you want to get off and wrap up, it takes us 20 minutes. So if we can say now that we're going to end soon. Yeah.
Sorry.
That's all right, bro. Don't be sorry.
I've got another lung. Got another little shriveled grape on the other side.
That's it. We got it. They're in there. Craig, Chippy, and Quinn all at the same time. Prescott, that's the one. One punch, Prescott.
Yeah, that's right. I was going to say, lump that. Yeah.
What did he do? Did he get hit or did he hit somebody?
No, he clumped somebody proper.
Oh, right. I remember vaguely, briefly, what some fogginess
Yeah.
of.
Should be able to Google it easy.
Yeah, so there we go. Paddy Pants Down, weren't there a Paddy Pants Down at one point as well in there?
Paddy pants down.
You know who my favourite was in all of this, just while we're here? A man from Sheffield called David Blunkett, a blind man
That's right.
who used to champ. I've never seen anybody like him other than Anne Widdecombe, but that was just another story totally. But iron, robust. I mean by Anne. David, blind politician. I heard of him when I went to Sheffield. I'm like, how can a politician be blind and read and do this job and all that? I didn't even got into this game then. Imagine trying to read. No way, all that text and bless. So imagine handicapped as such as that in the realm such as this with no vision. And he did an amazing job. I'm not here to promote, but we're not here to slag off either. We're just to tell the truth and recall history, if that's okay, and leave you to decide if we're remembering correct. And he was a legend. I'll say that. And Sheffield people would as well, most of them. I think Nick Clegg replaced him and promised Sheffield with the coalition and that they'd look after them. And then Nick and, who was it, the coalition, who were they? Them two, Cleggy and the blue one and the yellow one, weren't there? The blue one was, too much. And they ruined Sheffield, and the students went to the Liberal Democrats headquarters in Sheffield and chucked a load of protests. They were hilarious. I'm like, go on then. That's what you do there. Remember what you said, Nick? You've just took that away from us. Like, you've done the exact opposite. Thanks, pal. And they let him know. And we're like, get in. Lies, basically. Lies. And Sheffield didn't like it.
So can I just throw this little... This is a true story, happened this morning. On the local community page, there was a post from somebody, right? And I'm just going to tell you what the post said, and I'm going to relay my thoughts as they happened. So, this post said, can anybody help? I'm in Bedfont or something like that. And all the lights have fused, and I'm blind, etc. And I thought, the first thing I thought was, well, how do you know the lights have gone out then?
Exactly.
Sorry, that's what I wasn't really taking the piss, but that's what my brain...
You had a question, you asked...
How do you know the lights were out then if you're blind? And then, anyway, so, if anybody can help, blah, blah, blah. And then the first comment was, which I nearly died at, was, I've inboxed you. I thought, well, how the fuck's you going to read it?
They have phones that speak out and that. They have special accessibility. But yeah, I know what you mean. Got your brain. Lights are out. You can't see.
That was great to wake up to this morning. That was brilliant.
Yeah, in your tired state, working stuff out and still being dexterous with it.
Talking about people.
The little things in life that make you chuckle sometimes.
Yeah, and then that little little exchange I had with Matt Richardson today with the vegan sausages.
He said somebody in the room saying that somebody threw an egg at Prescott. That was it.
That's
yeah,
right,
and he chinned. What? You throw an egg at me, bosh. So you've been assaulted. You've had a common assault. You're not really injured, but you're a bit messy, and you've had a common assault, and you're not going to get out from it. So throw a punch and let them know. That's what type of politician. You see the anger. Most would have worn the egg and gone, "Do you feel better?" And played it like a bit of humour and sarcasm. But no, a bit like that footballer when he jumped and kicked that fan in the face. What was he called? Cantona. Wow. I'm not a football fan, and I know about that. I was like, what? He did what?
Yeah.
Not here, Jesus. And then somebody bit somebody's ear off. I went, wow, they're as bad as politicians, these lot.
Absolutely.
Want more money.
Control.
A lot of anger. Angry assets. I know this is probably too late in the cast, and we'll have to repeat it several times. But I'm interested in Yanka telling me that she's got a friend at school, and they get in trouble. They go in the SOS room, the students' isolation timeout room, and the teacher and the kids, Yanka, the friends there, they say that they've. She's told me that anger issues. She's a nice girl, but the girl, her friend, like Yanka's, likes her and tries to be friends with her, but she's got anger issues, and she's. So I'm like, whoa, 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 all right. And she didn't. Yanka's not grassing up. She's just telling me a few things about school and how it is, and teachers and friends and bullying. You know, I ask questions and try to look after her, and she repeats back about her friends and there's this girl and anger issues. I'm like, how same age as you, 13, yes, and yes, she's a popular girl though. What does that mean then, other than she's popular? Well, she's got a lot on her plate and it's hard. I'm like, well, she's the same as you, and you get through school, so if she's got anger issues, darling, that's because she's from an environment that's teaching her to be angry generally, and
Yeah,
said, and she needs help. So that made me think we need to say that to the fam here, that if anyone knows anybody, you don't have to say now. You'd contact us, and we'd like to look at helping the youth, the little ones, and go through. And you can help us. Anybody that's got experience in this, or has done teaching, or that has done counselling, or social, linguistic type, in that area of mental health, caring, and etc. Because I haven't done it. I'm just a dad and the tree of life. So we can do limited amounts, and we've got quite a lot of knowledge, so we can help. But we'd like you to also offer, if you can, time, and then we'll work with us over the next few months or whatever, and we'll get to. I'm saying a lot of stuff here, like we've got a lot of time, you see. So I'm trying to fill productively, and I thought if we've got teenagers and below teenage, 13 Yanker, and 12, 8-year-olds upwards with depression, anxiety, anger, and suicide, we got a problem, and we can't ignore it. So we'd like to
no,
just to tackle that. We call it nipping it in the bud. Get that bud and give them a nip. Come here, you. What's up with you? Why are you like that? And if it's an issue at home, we wouldn't report. Okay, so let me just get this out. We do it privately. There'd be no report. If there's abuse and harm, then there's certain levels of which we get implicated and we get classed as abusers. So we'd have to. It's a delicate road. So if it's something too messy, please, for our sake and your sake, go to get professional help, and we can help you do that. And we would, but there's certain levels where, let me think, we're common law, equity, men of God. So we have to recognise that there's limits and boundaries and lines, and we do have to draw a line, and we have to help and manage. And if there is criminalities and stuff, Kev, I don't know about you, but I don't know how we'd go about that. But that's just the worst case. We'd be out of our depth, and we'd have to have a strong team to help us work and manage this all the way through, and
yeah,
get and with a view to get back as a family unit. Not for loss, separation, harvesting, etc. And what goes off, as we found, we would monitor and manage. But that's the worst case. What we're looking at is just teenagers banging, slamming, whatever. And if you can't talk to them, then how is a stranger going to talk to them? Well, we're going to bring Yanka into this because she's got some time, and we'll do it with Yanka as well. I've already asked her, and she says, yeah, maybe. And Anne-Marie said, all right. She won't be coming on camera, but there'd be, a daughter there. You wouldn't have to have cameras on. It can all be private, and we can chat like that. There's a phone call or whatever, or give. If you've got work and you've got friends that are teachers that have done stuff like this, then they can share stuff. We would then distribute that with you, and these kind of things. So we're looking at we talked about SPL's Junior some years ago, and that will be done, but there's too many jobs on, and there's not enough time. So, yeah, what do you think of that? Is it a winner?
I think,
Is it a ditcher?
yeah, you just got, obviously, I think it's a great idea. Look at what people of our own age and our generation and that are going through. What are these lot, what's this younger lot gonna be like? Learn to get rid of this stuff, or certainly reason it out, or
Yeah,
could
bro,
be a
yeah.
good move.
But listen, It wouldn't be eventually, not but listen, but can I just say that I'd like to ultimately let the children, the young stars, talk to the young stars, remove the adults totally. I think that would be excellent if we could oversee our own assets, yours, mine, everybody's that wanted to partake, managing, and you could do this like from home. You don't have to have a head office. We don't have to all meet together. We can oversee and say, you contact periodically. Did that go ahead? How did it go? Blah blah blah. And we're allowed to do it. It's like me and Kev found out that there is no UK ruling for what was it? We found out counselling.
Yeah.
Is that what it was? So come on, this is that
Counting
from
all.
this was a 2 month ago conversation, Kev. That's just
Yes.
still needing to be done.
Might have been 20 years ago for me. Bloody hell.
Hey, we're getting there. The list, the lists.
Oh, it's mad.
No UK legal rules.
Yeah, it was.
What?
Yeah, there's no legislation or regulation of that industry.
Counselling.
Thank you.
And I'm like, whoa, alarm bells for number one, because who's regulating it? Where are the licenses then, and etc. And academic qualifications and whatnot are easy enough, but no legal. Well, that's amazing. Then that really is scary, primarily, and number two, excellent on the other side for us for able to. So, if those of you that want to check that UK guidelines, law, code, rules, policy, governance,
Legislation,
and you'll find what we found. So you're all invited, and we'd like to involve the young stars. We are using them, but willingly on a positive way, and they can help, and we'll see how we go there. If we can, it's not work. Nobody's slaved. It's voluntary, but you are privately protected when you volunteer. Now, lest we not forget, equity doesn't aid a volunteer. That's when you go to the Law Society and the Club of, and you volunteer. When you volunteer for me, Kev, SPLs or whatever, I'll speak of those three here on Indie, you are private, you are warranted, and you have a duty, and you can choose to do it or not. If you want to, you can volunteer privately to us, and you retain and you reserve all of your lawful rights. We take nothing from you. We take nothing at all advantage-wise except your time and your young stars' time. So when you hear us say we'd like you to help and volunteer, you're trying to trick us there. No, we're not, because we'd ask you to be a trustee if we were trying to trick you. Here, come over here and be a trustee in this trust. That's the one. That's the trickery. And Alias has put a comment there. Linking on, I wanted to say thank you for if you ever hear of an agent saying they want to help, run like hell. So that's why we're doing this. Alias, bang on. Guardianship, future possible harm, etc. So that's got possibilities, and we'll leave it there for now, I think.
Yeah, you're right, Kellyanne. That's what I worry about my grandchildren. You've got young uns by the looks of it. So yeah, that's what I'm concerned for. That's why I'm trying to put up as much of a fight as I can now, in the hope that by the time she gets to whatever age, we got this stuff under control. Because I hate to think what it'll be like for them.
Well, if some of them start getting, because we said this about ourselves, if we'd have known this at 16 or whatever, we'd have been so much further on than we are now. But we got the cards, we've got dealt, and we're playing the hand we got dealt. But for our what we know now, and we've got blood and we've got future, to contemplate and worry about. To be fair, none of us are secure. None of us have got any idea where we're going, and we don't know how long it's going to take to get there. So, going back to my post in Facebook regarding TDA administrative remedy, all roads will take you there when you don't know where you're going, says the somebody to somebody. And the Mad Hatter at the Mad Hatter's tea party, it is said to Alice by the Mad Hatter, no, by the cat says it. The grinning cat says it to Alice. Yeah, sorry, I'm not on the internet. I'm doing it from my head. I'm tired, but that's where we're at. And when we don't know where we're going, and we've got to go somewhere. Because if we don't stand for something, we'll fall for anything. Is what I'm thinking.
Well, we got to get away from the flock. We're surrounded.
That's good. I like to be surrounded. I was surrounded as a DJ, and I had eyes on me, and I was there to do a job and entertain. And we have no fear of death. I have no fear of death. Kev, you can speak for yourself, but I think I know the answer.
No, I'm not. What I meant was the sheeple.
Oh,
They're everywhere. Not us here.
if you'd have turned around and said, "Yeah, Dave, actually, I'm bricking it," I'd have been like, "Well, you better stop smoking." Then I was already geared up for you.
I'm chilled. It is what it is. Deal with it.
Yeah.
If it happens to be death by 5G, then what am I going to do about it?
That's the next video. Wow, I see how long it would take.
Death by 5G. With that, one of those photos of lizard I sent you.
Yeah, it's this funny little snuff film with babushkas from Ruskia that are called grandmas, babushkas, and it's some kind of cult. It's not what they thought it was. So let's go look at the room, then I'm tired. We'll get off and wrap up and say thank you.
What's Costco? What's that? Is that, who are they? Lux, Mia. Costco, I thought they did coffee. Or was it the American
Kelly Ann, come on, man.
cash and carry? Oh, that's Costco, isn't it? Oh, I'm so funny. What's Costco then? That's probably a made-up private business, that's what I mean. So they might have some, rules, but if it's a made-up private business that brought these rules out, it's nonsense, really. What accreditation do they possess?
We need to sit down at a round table. Wow, Queen. Counselling and psychotherapy in Scotland just dug out the course outline folder right here. Wow, okay. That's as easy as that, though.
Well, you've done that, have you?
Yeah.
You better think really carefully about your next answer. It could tie you into a lot of busy stuff.
Oh, CH33, you're just going to blue for that comment. There we go. Kelly Ann, you've gone moderator. Thank you, 33. And to Kev as well. Thank you, Kev. That's to you as well, bro.
Oh. Nice one, 33. You're a star. You get there, mate. Everyone gets there.
26, see? On it at 26.
The more you use,
yeah,
the more
good.
you use it, the more it sticks in your mind, the more you read through stuff or legislation, it becomes second nature because you use it so often.
Well, yeah, the legislation, we need to know, like the consumer credit, the road traffic, drivers, and we don't know it inside and out. I don't know about Kev, but I can't cope. It's too much, and we know enough to govern around, like what I've said there with the money, the bills, and I'm not an expert. I'm not here to, and Kev isn't either. We're just men that we want to try and make a change. So we're here to try and just to make it easier for you. So just bear that in mind, all right.
Yeah, we've got knowledge. As I say, depends on the situation. There's plenty of legislation I haven't seen, and I hope never to have to look at. But obviously, it depends on the situation. If something comes on, it's new, then you go, right, let's go and have a look at the legislation that governs that. You go and have a look at it. But I say this is all using it because we take or Graham and I certainly take the approach of a foot in both camps. You use the legal side of proceedings with your birth certificate, your person, because that's your legal person. So that's with that. And then you stand lawful as the flesh and blood, settlor, grantor, the blood and sweat and tears that and the pain into the system. You're the one that's done that. I'm the one that's done that. And my paperwork is there purely for me to access and benefit from my contributions. It's exactly what it is. So you use everything you can, both sides.
All out bull. Sorry, no, that's not the one.
Use all the tools in the box.
You only said to blow the bloody doors
Bloody
off.
doors off. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, wow. Here we go.
Sweet. Bloody hell, it's nearly 1 o'clock, Dave.
I know we're going. So we've done the goodbyes. Everybody say goodbye. That's the warning. That is your time-ending warning. Yeah, 3 hours in. Round table though, Quinn, Jerry. Where can we put it? Let's go. I'm up for that.
When all this nonsense is over,
Go on.
maybe we could find somewhere sort of centrally to all of us, possibly. That's apart from Quinn. He's all out there.
An island.
You know, and
island,
see if we can find somewhere, a venue where we can all just gather.
We could have one in Scotland, one in Anglo, one in Ireland. Republic of Ireland would be nice, just because I would like to go there. But anywhere in Ireland, Northern might be a bit standoffish, to be fair. But we could Stormont's out, so we could set some kind of assembly up and get some normality there. Anglo could have one, preferably maybe London. If you've got one in Scotland, Midlands, between Midlands and London, somewhere like Oxford, I don't know, a bit further up, Warrington, Bedford, I don't know, I can think of a few rough places, but we could do with 2 or 3. We ain't even got 1, here I am wanting 3, sorry, we'll stick with 1, yeah. It's too early, too late. Much love to you all. It's been a good chat, I've enjoyed it, Kev.
Yes, thank you. I must admit, I'm just tapering off a little bit, and my back's just starting to really hurt. It hasn't done for a while, so it's niggling me a bit, to be honest. So it's distracting me slightly now.
Well, I'll swap it you for me toothache.
All right, then, do that. I'll drive up.
Oh my days! Thank you. You're such a brother.
I'll send a drone up.
I might have an abscess coming, a toothache and an abscess actually. 2 for 1.
Right. It'll be, if it's an abscess, it's still hurting, you probably could have got an infection, but we'd say that's a piece of piss to get rid of it. You just have to be brave and burst the fucker. But you should wait until you can almost see a head on it. You'll be alright, boy, don't worry. We got you.
I know, I'm alright. I'm brave.
Go in with that, you know, COVID-19.
I know, yeah, no, I don't want to be doing a Tom Hanks though and Wilson it and, you know.
Don't go anywhere near them. Anyway,
emergency dentist.
Listen, everybody in there tonight, absolutely outstanding. Great chat. Been a laugh. Hope you've enjoyed it. Been a bit here and there, but it was just a bit of a random. Nothing really planned. So, but thanks ever so much. Really appreciate you all still hanging around at this time of night. I know there's not a lot else going on, but even so,
you could be on.
I really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. Thanks very much, and we'll see you all probably at the weekend now. I imagine Saturday or something.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
If not before, unless something major happens, and then maybe we'll come on and do a random. Who knows? Surprise is what it's all about.
If you subscribe and then you look when you subscribe and you look at the bell, if should you wish to, then you get notifications options there. Not that everybody gets them, but thank you. Yeah, lovely night time. It's gone very fast, and yeah, well said, Kev. I echo what Kev said. I'll leave it there because I know we're tired. So
yeah, nice one. Yeah, all this sitting around doing fuck all's tiring. Doing a lot of broadcasting.
It's hard work doing nothing because you never know when you're doing.
Well, exactly. When do you finish? When do you know you're done? That's it. It's confusing time. And I was going to start a page, and I was going to call it "Professional Staying In with Kev," and then just on Facebook, and then just a picture of me in the same position every day in the same chair. That's what I did today.
You're a barn pot.
I know, mate. I try.
Well, that's a good idea, though. That is a good idea.
I'm still thinking about it, just for a giggle. Professional staying in.
You get a diploma at the end of
You
it.
lot have only been in for 2 weeks. I've doing 13 years. I've been doing this shit. Professor of staying in is what I am.
Do you get a diploma or a certificate at the end?
I give them out, mate. I don't need one. I'm the master of staying in.
Brilliant. Thank you, brother.
Excellent. No worries.
Right, let's end it.
I'll hang on
Yeah.
till we go off and have a quick chat, and then.
Right, scribes. That's it. We're going. Thank you. Much love. And
Yeah, love to you all.
see you at the weekend. Thank you very much for your time. If you've had a giggle, contemplate a thumbs up and share it with whomever. Let them know what we get up to and who we are. It's 3 hours. There's lots of you. We've done a lot of casts, so enjoy and thank you.
Good night.
What was I going to say? There's something I wanted to say. Good courage. There we go. We'll end it with good courage. Peace and love. Good courage.
Night.
That's it. We're going, Kev.